Many coin developers require extensive infrastructure to maintain day-to-day operations, while hobbyists, investors, and traders require coin developers to do this securely and professionally. We are Spectre Security Coin, building a new kind of decentralized community.
It's that time again, your crypto daily time. So grab a seat, get some coffee, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And now here's your hosts, Red Planet 32 and Johnny Boy Crypto.
What is up, world? I'm here. Red Planet 32 here live in the living color, doing it in 3D from parts unknown, actually known as Michigan, home of the Motor City, the Kitty Cats of Detroit, the Pistons who can't win, and it's cold as a dog outside. But hey, we're still here live in the living color, man. I hope everybody's having a fantastic week, and Shout out to Adachi Kogiro Crypto. Hey yo. You guys are first, yes. Maybe we'll give you some money tonight. We'll give you some crypto tonight, man. I'm in a good mood. Life crisis. Man down. Somebody help me. But we are here. And I hope everybody's having a fantastic time tonight. I hope everybody's had a fantastic weekend. And we're going to get into some crypto. Well, man, we're going to get to some deep stuff tonight, man. I'm here, Red Planet 32, my co-host, Johnny Boy Crypto, special co-host on tonight, Mr. Spectre Security himself, also known as Digi Warfare. And we got a special guest here tonight. I want to make sure I'm saying the name right. Oh, gosh, forgive me. Crypto Gangs! God dang it, you look like Blake Griffin.
Oh, man. Come on.
Crypto Gangs is in the house, man. And, of course, Scott LaRock from Hyped on Crypto. And the lovely, you can't say LOL, is with us tonight. Guys? Yes. How about the America and everything that's going through right now, man? Is the freaking government ever going to open up again?
I hope not.
Permanent shutdown. Long-term vacation.
That's right.
Nobody's getting checks.
Just think, they ain't spending any money.
Oh, man, the hood is going to get restless by I'll give it to the 16th. Oh, Lord. It's going to be crazy.
Oh, no, you didn't just...
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Oh, no.
That's right. Yes.
You're singing first of the month for like...
Oh, my God, forever. Like, I wish the first of the month would get here. Bridge cars not loaded. Tax returns all held up. Oh, man, we're going to get deep tonight. We're going to get deep. How deep? Real deep. Hey, this show's been brought to you tonight by X42. Open, feeless, and infinite. Check them out at x42.tech. Oh, man. Spectre Security Coin. Helping build a better, safer blockchain technology. Check them out at spectresecuritycoin.io. All right. Hey, listen, let's talk about a little bit what's going on in the crypto world, man. So much going on in the crazy world of crypto. Because this is technically a crypto show, but tonight y'all gonna hate us. But I guess it's all gonna tie into the crypto world and all that it offers, right? The mysterious things that happen behind the scenes. Coin I want to highlight this week. I'm mad because I sold them. GLD, the gold coin, up 40%. Wow. Was 3 cents per coin last week. Up 6 points now. 6%, 6 cents per coin. I would have doubled up on my boys. Check them out, man. They're going through this weird fork right now, reverse fork, which I still don't understand, but it's going through a reverse fork right now. Tagline, GLD. All right. CarryNet up 292% this week. the last 24 hours. Octocoin or Octoin or Octoin coin up 69%. Chex coin, what I never heard of, 54%. Aces up 50%. Oh, look at that. Everything is just in the green for the little cryptos that Johnny Boy Crypto loves so much. Man, we got to do a show on the little cryptos now, Johnny, and highlight some new projects. But let's look at the big boys, right? We got top 100. Bitcoin dropped down $300 in the last 24 hours. Well, technically 36 hours, I guess now. It's up to $3,600 still. It's maintaining. Ripple, 33 cents. Ethereum, $127. Bitcoin Cash, the one that everybody loves to hate, $134. EOS, not looking too bad. Tron looking a little bloody, down 11%. Oh, God, man. Oh, the kid is in rare form tonight. Cardano down 1%. IOTA up almost 0.5%. So you guys check it out, man. It is what it is. It's this thing called life. Crypto. Hey, did we lose somebody? Like, now I see a pyramid. I did have like 3 sides on each side.
Yeah, it seemed like somebody left.
Who left?
I don't know.
I'm still here.
Oh, Johnny Boy.
Oh,
He's
there you
fading
go.
in and fading out. It's the UFOs. Hey, listen, tonight we're going to talk about some dark things. And I'm not talking about myself. But we're going to talk about the... we're going to... I'm sorry, man. The expression of my man's face. Crypto Gangs was priceless, right? Hey, listen, if you're out there, I want us to all band together in solidarity. I want everybody to tweet this out. So if you're listening, if you're in the chat, I need you to tweet this show out tonight because we're going to get deep. I can't say it enough. We're talking about the Dark Alliance. What? What in God's name is the Dark Alliance? Misty Channel, what is up? Kagiro Crypto, I said your name already. Sorgakill, what's going on with you? Jeremy Lee, man, you a funny dude, man. Thanks for hanging out with us again on tonight. Listen, everybody tweet it out. But let's talk about the Dark Alliance. What is the Dark Alliance? And then the midway, we're going to talk about some giveaways that Scott LaRock from Hyped on Crypto is going to be giving away here on tonight. But you know what? Before we can get to that, Scott, since you're here, let's talk about it, man. What are you guys giving away tonight?
Hey, what's up, Brett? How you guys doing tonight?
Oh, super. Thanks for asking. What you got,
so we're
man?
gonna have this huge party. So we got this huge party going on tonight. So I had everybody do an invite contest, and I'll be announcing the winners for that. We have a party starting in about an hour and a half in Fort Knox, and we're gonna be dropping a lot of crypto. So if you guys ain't doing nothing, stop in.
That sounds so exciting. I'm really that's great, man. That's gonna be awesome. Is there any special words, passwords, like getting into a speakeasy that they need to use or drop in order for them to take advantage of this?
Get in early because it's already getting pretty crazy in there right now.
All right.
So,
Did you drop a link in the?
Yeah, like where do I go?
Yeah, where do we go? Where do we go, brother? Huh? So we get this money.
So if you join Fort Knox, I'll put the link in there. We will have a special role tonight. If you're listening to the voice channel, which means you'll be able to hear the music, you'll get into Ground Zero. So that's a VIP role, and that's where we're going to drop some pretty good coins in there. So, but you have to be on the voice call to earn those coins.
In the description box, there is a Fort Knox link
Awesome.
for Your Crypto Daily YouTube channel and Johnny Boy Crypto. If you're listening in the Discord chat, voice chat, then the link is in the Fort Knox channel.
Awesome.
Awesome stuff.
And I'll announce the winners of the shared master node seats at anytime you guys are ready.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Hey, listen, I don't want the people to get restless, right? Because, our audience is like only 2. And, we're reaching into the we're reaching into the thousands and the thousands. We're going to be talking about the Dark Alliance tonight. And we got a special guest that's going to be educating us on this tonight. So this show may go over. So if you're just now tuning in, all jokes aside, you haven't missed anything just yet because people get mad. They're like, why does this dude keep talking? All right, so here it is. Without any further ado, Mr. Digi Warfare, educate us on what the Dark Alliance is all about.
Hey, how are you, man?
Hi there.
Hi. So before I get into Dark Alliance, I want to just bring everybody up to speed a little on something that we're going to touch base in. if you listen to R&B or rap music, lately you've been hearing a lot of music coming out from a guy named Rick Ross.
Oh, Ricky Ross.
Ricky Ross. Unfortunately, what I have to tell you guys is this is not the real Rick Ross.
Say what?
Okay. So the real Rick Ross, who actually this guy is getting his name from, is actually Freeway Ricky Ross.
Okay.
And Freeway Ricky Ross was part of a big conspiracy for bringing crack cocaine into Los Angeles in Southern California. And basically what we're talking about is the beginning of the crack epidemic in the United States. So Ricky Ross, the one that you hear now on all the music and stuff, is not the same Ricky Ross. The real Ricky Ross is actually taking him to court right now. I don't know if the case has been settled yet to get his name back. Because this dude up and stole his name, up and stole street cred, everything.
Wow.
So what we want to do is we're doing a throwback conspiracy show tonight. Yes. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Dark Alliance. And Dark Alliance was a paper that was put out by a journalist who's not with us anymore named Gary Webb. Not surprisingly, Gary Webb was found dead. The official report was suicide, but dude had 2 bullet holes in his head. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if someone's going to commit suicide, do you get 2 tries? Do you not off yourself with the first one and then get yourself with the second? And
oh, man.
So we've seen this come out. Vince Foster. There were a couple people that were associated with the Clintons mysteriously died, 2 bullets in their head. So 2 is seeming to be a conspiracy number here. So without any ado, let's start talking about the backstory here. And this story is an old story. This story actually got its start probably about 2 years after I was born. So we're about 1977. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Dark Alliance is Gary Webb's investigation into the evolution of the international drug ring with ties to the CIA and the Nicaraguan Contras. It's a saga that lasted for more than 20 years. It's got a bunch of feature stories in it. Secreted money trails, crack cocaine distributions. Wow. All of it was chronicled. So to start it off, let's go way back and look at kind of the beginning. And for most of us here, it's 1979. So you have Nicaraguan crime boss, Norman Meneses, okay? He will become the leader of the international drug ring, okay? So he was arrested and jailed in 1977 in connection with one of Nicaragua's top custom officials' murder. He's got a couple brothers. One is General Edmundo Meneses. He was police chief. He was believed to have been part of the CIA as an asset who coordinated the insurgency movements that were going on through Latin America in the 1970s. Okay.
Wow.
1978, spring. FBI and DEA reports together. They show that Norwin and Ernesto Meneses, they're both smuggling large amount of cocaine out of Nicaragua and into the United States by commercial airliners. This was how it started. People used to get on planes with cocaine and drugs and bring them in. There wasn't any security that we have now. Okay.
Wow.
So now we bring in another character, Jamie Meneses. This was the guy who is actually, from my understanding, responsible for distributing cocaine in San Francisco. So this is spring of 1978. In September, late September, Edmundo Meneses was actually machine gunned down. He died of his injuries 2 weeks later. And this was done by the Sandinistas. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, the Sandinistas were one of the Nicaraguan armies. So you can picture a loose collection of 5 or 6 different groups that all banded together. And this is just my understanding.
This is deep.
So now we're into 1979. Okay. We got Norman Meneses, who we just talked about, but we have another figure who's coming in who's really, 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 this guy is interesting. His name is Danilo Blandon. Okay. Mm-hmm. He would become later Los Angeles' biggest cocaine trafficker. Okay. Like, seriously. Now, for everybody who doesn't know, this name Daniello Blandone, later on, he turned out to be an FBI and CIA and DEA informant. He was actually working with them while doing this. So really what we're establishing here is that this person's working supposedly with the CIA and the DEA, but they're allowing him to bring cocaine into Los Angeles. The greater question is, why?
So you're saying that these people were allowed to bring the stuff right into Los Angeles and do what they will with it?
Correct.
All right,
That is correct.
You're going somewhere with this, and I'm waiting to hear it.
Yeah. So early on, throughout the late 70s, cocaine is gaining an influence. Now, most people look at cocaine as a rich person's drug. Excuse me, I'm gonna cough for a second. So it's a rich person's drug. The normal people that lived, in the poor or the middle range, they couldn't afford this drug. So other people came in later to solve the need. So we got in July of 1979, the International Cocaine Conference opens in Lima. North American scientists get the first look at smoking cocaine. That was a whole craze in Peru. So they would make a paste and then they would smoke the pasty stuff. And it was much like crack. So that's probably when we start seeing the first emergence of a hybrid cocaine to moving towards crack cocaine is roughly
crazy,
late 79. July 17th, Nicaragua falls to the Sandinista rebels. Okay. So a bunch of people, the dictator, Anastasio Simones or something like that, and about 100 other people were airlifted to Homestead Air Force Base in Florida. So we actually went in and got these people and pulled them out. Okay.
That's crazy.
2 days later, Congress convenes cocaine hearings and receives the first warning of the upcoming cocaine smoking epidemic. This is 1979, people. December, so the end of 1979, Freeway Ricky Ross, who's a teenager at this time, sees his first crack rock. Like 1979. This is how many years ago? 40. 1980, probably midsummer, Nicaraguan Coast Guard Colonel Enriquez Bermudez, he goes on to the CIA payroll and heads to Guatemala to take over command of the Legion of September 15th. That's a violent gang of ex-guardsmen and mercenaries, and they were the forerunners for the Contras. Now remember, Contras, think of rebel group with RPGs, AKs, things over their head, disappearing out of the jungles, a lot of conflict, right? We're talking guerrilla campaign. Moving forward to September of that year, Anastasio Simones, he was assassinated. Okay. October, small groups of pro-Contras meet in Miami in the United States to form the UDN FARN Contra Army. They buy some weapons and radio equipment from us. Now we start getting into where the stuff really gets hairy, because now I'm going to start talking about some political figures. And before I do this, I want to thank the CEA, the DEA, or the CIA, the DEA, for being punctual and on time to this show tonight.
That they are, yeah.
November 4th, 1980, Ronald Reagan is elected president. Now, Ronald Reagan was a movie star that came out of California. Why is this important? Because right now in California and in Hollywood, we see a lot of movie stars telling us how to think, act, and breathe. They push their lifestyle on us. Here, we had one of their own get elected in. Okay, so this is November 4th. March, Reagan signs Finding. And Finding basically is a...
Wow.
He wants to...
Guys, you just said that. Okay, never mind. You guys should see the on-screen back again. Something's getting weird over here. Okay. God dang it, man.
Yeah.
Got no X-42, man.
Bro, we're 4 years into this story right now.
On,
you know what I mean?
Boy Crypto's channel, the screen went dark. It's
Yep.
just off.
Just
cut out.
Demonetized.
Right as you said, DEA.
God dang it, man. My brother's listening. This is what I deal with. We're on the battlefronts, taking on America.
So do we want to roll over to another channel?
It's back now.
Oh, it's
Oh,
back.
it's back.
Yeah, we're back now. I got it back. Man, that was
All right.
funky.
Thanks for being punctual.
Yeah.
They have made their arrival.
They let us know of their presence. That's for sure. I was like, wow, that's right on time.
I can't get views, but hey, I guess we can always get the attention of the good old DEA and the CIA, our wonderful federal brethren. Come on with it.
So remember, we just got a bunch of people out of Nicaragua because of the Sandinista army taking over. So now here, Ronald Reagan is basically signing orders to start destabilizing the Nicaraguan government. So now the CIA gears up for covert actions. Mid-year, Ricky Ross. And by the way, if you guys could go to Twitter, and Ricky Ross is on Twitter, just go give him a shout out and saying, hey, man, right now someone's talking about you. And, just drop that out there.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So Ricky Ross and his friend.
What's the actual Twitter?
It's just go search for Twitter Freeway Ricky Ross, and you will find it.
It might be the real Freeway Ricky Ross. I can't remember.
It is.
Yeah.
That's who we're talking about. I'll put it into the Zoom for you guys here to put it right in the chat box. So this is his Twitter account right there. That's who we're talking about. So
okay, I'm gonna send a tweet out. Everybody retweet it. I'll put it in the chat.
So we're back in 1981-ish. So Ricky Ross and his friend Ali O'Neill begin selling small amounts of powder cocaine in South Central LA. They got that from a teacher, evidently. Yeah. Educational facilities giving out cocaine to people. Not giving it out, probably selling it, but August 10th, at the CIA's behest, the UDN and the FARN and the Legion of September 15th, they formed the FDN, and they moved their base of operations to Honduras. Flash forward to almost the end of the year, we got November 23rd. Ronald Reagan signs NSDD number 17, authorizing the CIA to spend $19.95 million to set up the Contras. December, the FDN begins setting up support committees in various U.S. cities, including Los Angeles, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., New Orleans, Houston, and Miami. Later that December, Blandón and Meneses start the Contra Revolution in California. They meet with Bermudez in Honduras to figure out how to raise money for the Contras. On return to the United States, Blandón picks up 2 kilos of coke in San Francisco and begins selling drugs in LA. This is 91. So at this point in time, these amount of drugs, they're very new to, California. They're very new to America, and when we get into the show later on and we start talking about some of the things, remember, this is a conspiracy show. And the good thing about a conspiracy is, or the good conspiracy is, there's just enough truth to it or fact that you can find that makes the whole thing seem plausible and realistic. It's never proven 100% because that's why it's a conspiracy. So we need to make sure that everybody understands why we're talking about this, why we're talking about conspiracies. So let's go to 1982. We got an ex-fighter pilot, Carlos Bendiza, who's recruited in San Francisco to sell cocaine for the Contras. He obtains it from Contra supporters in Costa Rica. Mid-year, so about summer, crack cocaine starts appearing in noticeable quantities on the streets in South Central. Ricky Ross begins buying cocaine from the Nicaraguan subordinate, Danilo Blandón. So here again, we have somebody who's reportedly working in conjunction with the CIA to help support the Contra army going on to overthrow, all of this stuff. And how are they getting their funds? They're getting their funds through cocaine sales that are allowed to come inside the United States. So, part of when we look at the effect of something, we have to understand the origin. So now we're going to go and we're going to hit September. We got a former Sandinista, Edwin Pastores. He unites the UDN and FRN commander El Negro to form the ARDE, and that's the main Contra army in Costa Rica.
All right.
Okay. October 22nd, CIA gets information that the Contras and Meneses' aide, Pinilla Cambrera, and an unnamed religious group will meet in Costa Rica to discuss arms for drugs. November 8th, FBI identifies Meneses' lieutenants, Torrio Sanchez, Fernando Sanchez, and Jorico Pereira. And sorry, I'm horrible with these names, but these were all Contra supporters that were operating out of Costa Rica. And Costa Rica at the time was one of the major sources for cocaine that was flowing into the San Francisco drug rings. So late in that year, Ricky Ross begins marketing pre-made crack, or what he called Ready Rock, to other dealers. So now we're into 1982 here. 1983 is kind of not a real active year for what they're reporting on, but early Ricky Ross drug enterprise became so large that he begins buying cocaine directly from Blandone. This substantially reduces the cost of what he has to pay for it, and he passes on this savings to his customers. And what this does is it makes crack cocaine, or Ready Rock, so cheap that poorer, or the lower middle class, can now afford this. And this is a huge turning point, right? Pure cocaine is very expensive. People can't afford it, so people don't get to do it, which means it never hits mass adoption. But here he is, he breaks the cocaine down to another form, and it's cheap enough because he can dilute it that he sells a whole lot more. Okay. Wow. January 17th, Colombian freighter docked in San Francisco is raided. There are 430 pounds of cocaine. This is all under the case called the Frogman case. It's the first documented instance of Contra drug dealing in the U.S. Okay, so Carlos Cabaza and other Contra supporters are arrested soon after. Summer, the crack market in South Central explodes. I mean, it went off like you would not believe. Due to that, in September 19th, Ronald Reagan signs another secretive finding. This one authorizes money and CIA help for the paramilitary operations against the Sandinistas. Again, another $19 million. And that's just for a fiscal year, right? So really, 1983 for me was the hinge point. That's where crack cocaine was cheap enough to become mainstream.
Man.
And yeah. It's horrible. What we're talking about right now is horrible, and the African American community is paid $1 billion times over for this. Now, it gets worse, and again, a lot of the people that I'm going to talk about on tonight's show, you all know, you see them every day in the TV telling you everything about you, and when I start name dropping, you're going to recognize them. So now we're going to move into 1984. So 1984, Norman Meneses. He begins this conspiracy to distribute cocaine in San Francisco. And that came out of a secret indictment. In May, Contras run out of money. Piggy bank's broke. June 4th, Norman Meneses pays for a dinner party in San Francisco to honor CIA agent Alfredo Calero. He's a political boss of the Contras. Meneses and Calero have a secret series of private meetings over the next couple months. Okay. July 30th, the CIA is told evidence in Frogman case links CIA operatives in Costa Rica to U.S. drug trafficking. Agency scrambles to keep information public and returns $36,000 to the convicted drug dealer. Now, this is fucking strange. This blows my mind. In the United States, when they come after you, they take everything before you're tried. They take your house, your car, your money, nothing. You can't even do a defense. So here we have a convicted drug dealer who's about to spill his guts because they took $36,000. And what they determined, the damage that would be done by him spilling his guts was a lot more than $36,000. So they were just like, cool, bro, here's your money.
Man.
Yeah.
Hey, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, jump on in. This is some heavy stuff.
I hate to interject too much, but I can remember back in the 80s, I was a kid, but I can remember on TV, you also would always see Reagan and George Bush Sr. holding up crack. So like almost advertising it to the rest of the world that never saw it.
You're right. And in that picture, you'll see another famous face. His name's called Oliver North.
Oh, good old Ollie.
Yes.
Talk to us about him, please.
Yeah. So we'll get to all these people. So here we are. You know, the CIA says, man, we're going to give you your money back, Mr. Convicted Drug Dealer. No problem. October 10th. So here's the point of where things are now. They can't hide it anymore. They can't keep it under wraps. So now they change tactics up. Congress votes to cut off all funding from the Contras. Uh-oh, they're taking bro's money away. What does this do? This has the opposite impact. So rather than give them the money, they have to make the money. Well, how they're making the money is through cocaine distribution in the United States. So again, you know, if someone cuts off one thing and the need is still there, they'll get it another. So moving forward on the timeline, we got November 26th, the an FDN official and Meneses' nephew, they're busted in San Francisco for cocaine trafficking. December 5th, the CIA is informed that Meneses and Contra leader Sebastian Gujan Gonzalez are involved in drug dealing and arms trafficking in Costa Rica. So basically, you know, everybody's now getting to know who they are. You know, the DEA is now got probably 7 closets full of documentation about what is going on. We move into 1985. March, the DEA is told Chapata and Danilo Blandón are both members of a cocaine trafficking organization. Soon, the United States Department grants both political asylum. Hold on here. You got cocaine traffickers in the United States is giving them political asylum? By this time in 1985, Blandón reports that he and Rick Ross are moving upward near 100 kilos a week.
Good God, man.
100 kilos of cocaine. That's a lot. That's a lot of cocaine. Anybody ever seen a kilo? You just picture 100 of them stacked there. You know, and street value on coke at that time, you know, it wasn't as expensive today, but it was, you know, it was thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, it's crazy. So
That's a lot.
moving into April, we got another figure that appears. Javario Meneses. He implicates that his uncle is in drug trafficking, yet no charges are filed. Norman Meneses soon moves to Costa Rica and goes to work for the DEA. Now remember, Norman Meneses is a key figure through this whole controversy, and so is Blandón. These two people were, to me, the main figureheads of what was going on here. They were the main drivers, they were the main suppliers, they were the main movers and pushers. So September, the DEA identifies Blandón as the head of a cocaine distribution organization in Los Angeles. Again, no action is taken. So when they identify that he is responsible for bringing this in, and then they don't take any action, that's the same as allowing it. Giving him a green card to still go. September, Panamanian doctor Hugo Stapatafordia, he's a Contra leader. He meets 3 times with DEA agent Robert Nieves in Costa Rica. Now, reportedly, this was to accuse the Contra leader of drug trafficking. A week later, this dude is decapitated, head cut right off. Like, done deal, right? No coming back from that one. December 20th, Brian Barger and Robert Perry write a story for the Associated Press saying the Contras are dealing in cocaine and gun runnings. Here's the thing. No one cared. America didn't care. They ignored the story. The CIA had everything to lose. Better for them the story gets left untold. So we're seeing early problems here between all of these. We got multiple countries at play, Costa Rica, Nicaragua. We have multiple agencies in play, DEA, CIA. We got multiple political figures. We got Ronald Reagan, Oliver North. So this is an all-star cast of people.
A lot of all-star cast in this, man. This is crazy.
It is. And this is all freely documented. Anybody, just go on the internet and go to Google and search for Dark Alliance. And if you really want to see the stuff that you can't see anymore, go to a website called the Internet Archive. This is a place that's been archiving websites forever and a day. So you can find content that's not related or not on the internet anymore. So you'll find this. This is all freely publicized. I'm not spilling the beans on anything. We're just bringing it back to attention.
Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe button if you haven't already. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, please.
So 1986, mid-April, Guatemalan DEA agents, they get a telegram from the DEA agent Robert Neves in Costa Rica saying the Contras are involved in drug smuggling out of hangars 4 and 5 at this airport in El Salvador. June, crack problem discovered by mainstream press after college basketball player Len Bias and pro football player Don Rogers both die in overdoses.
My God.
So we're starting to see a lot of people going, what is this? But it took some prime figures in that time frame to die. Though, we got a reversal here. June 25th, House approves $100 million Contra aid package in a 221 to 209 vote. The Senate approved it 2 months later. Now, this is horrible because now we have the whole Senate involved. Do you guys know how many people that are? That's hundreds of people. That's both Republicans, that's both Democrats, that's liberals. They were all involved. All of them. This is their legacy.
So, what do you think the main purpose? I mean, I know you got a lot more information to drop on us tonight, and we're going to take some questions. What's up, Sneaky Good Lord? Thanks for joining on. What do you think the main purpose was behind all this? Because when you're saying all this now, I'm thinking about the wall wants to get built. Build the wall! Build! You know, all that garbage going on. And what you're telling me right now, it's just almost like everything is coming full circle all over again.
It is. So this is, from my understanding and from the research that I've done, what was going on in the world at the time. Ronald Reagan, he was strongly anti-communist. Like Russia at that time was the Red Scare. It was our greatest enemy. It was they were never going to change. And we had a stint of where they were trying to put nuclear missiles and stuff on an island just south of Florida. And this is a very scary. So Ronald Reagan, being as anti-communist as he was bound to determine that there would be no communist countries in this hemisphere. And that went all the way down to South America. So from my understanding, all of the backing of the Contras was basically a fight against communism.
So, you mean to tell me, man, hold on, just what you're telling me right now. You mean to tell me all the lives that have gotten lost, all the lives that have gotten destroyed, was all due to the fact that they'd rather side with these individuals just to kill communism?
Well, I think what happened was they were so desperate to keep communism from spreading that they couldn't get the funding they wanted, so it wasn't enough. You know, the Nicaraguan government and all those people down there, they had way more funding. It became a money game. So being able to sell cocaine for large profits and then funnel that money back, it relieved the United States Senate and Congress from having to put forth about the $800 million that it would have taken at the time. So what we're really talking about is a budgetary offset. You know, as long as they're not indicated, then they can always cover it up, smear it, you know, whatever, and get rid of these people. You know, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about people being black vanned, right? So when we look at this,
there's a lot to be taken in tonight.
It is, and it's a big thing. And the reason is, you know, people have to understand why we need a transparent government. This is why. This is real. This happened. The outcomes are going to last for hundreds of years. We'll get to that. It's crazy.
Man, let's
keep moving in the timeline.
Okay, let's take a break real quick here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let everybody take all this in real quick. And let's hear a word from our sponsors once again, please. Hit me.
Many Many coin developers require extensive infrastructure to maintain day-to-day operations, while hobbyists, investors, and traders require coin developers to do this securely and professionally. We are Spectre Security Coin, building a new kind of decentralized community.
All right, we're back. Hope that you guys are still hanging out with us here. Let us continue, man. This is all heavy, what we're hearing tonight. Like, I've heard stories of this stuff, right? But to hear it again in this light is crazy. We're talking about the Dark Alliance, and we're talking about Gary Webb, right? And
Correct.
this is based on his article that he wrote there, I believe, around 1996.
Yeah, it was later on. And he was ridiculed, debunked. I mean, people went to destroy his story. And I'm not saying Gary Webb was the cleanest person in the world, but, you know, he was an investigative journalist. And when you're an investigative journalist, it's not in your business to make friends. You want to get to the root of the story. And real investigative journalism, you will ruffle feathers. You will piss people off. You will touch areas that make people uncomfortable. Sometimes they're in areas where people aren't really ready to explore yet.
Yeah.
And at this time, no one was ready to explore this. This is so opposite from what your country is supposed to do. You know, so at that time, he was ridiculed horribly. And
man, it sounds like it, man. Go ahead, finish, please.
Okay, so I'm going to start, because you guys have enough detail. I don't have to go through individual dates anymore. So now I'm going to start fast forwarding, hitting highlights. So roughly that year, basically the DEA agents in California, they were debriefed by a confidential informant from Blandone's operation that cocaine was financing the Contras. So the LA sheriff, they begin investigation, discovers FBI has same information. Introducing Ollie North. Cargo plane used by Oliver North's illegal Contra resupply effort is shot down over Nicaragua. Blandone's house, car lot, a dozen other locations in the United States, mostly in the LA area. They're raided by not only the sheriff, the FBI, the IRS, and the Bell Police. Detectives are told, one suspect and Blandone's lawyer, that the CIA is involved. Reagan immediately signs a bill authorizing the CIA to spend another $100 million on Contras. The arms story breaks in a Beirut magazine. 2 weeks later, Attorney General Ed Meese and Ronald Reagan hold a press conference to admit Contra diversion scheme. The Iran-Contra scandal erupts. Boom!
Man.
Later that year, all charges against Blandone stemming from the drug raid, they're dropped, and he applies for permanent residence in the United States. Former Contra mercenary Stephen Carr is found dead of a drug overdose shortly before he was supposed to testify about the Contra drug and arm race in Costa Rica. Assistant U.S. attorney assigned to the Blandone case allegedly commits suicide in his Los Angeles home soon after Blandone case is rejected for prosecution from Washington. So Washington says we're not prosecuting. Again, Washington is always in play here.
This is absurd, man.
So because of this problem, the LAPD and the county sheriff, they formed the Freeway Ricky Ross Task Force.
So he has a task force named just for him?
Yes. There's a task force that's just set up for Ricky Ross to deal with him and what he is doing. San Francisco Contra supporter Dennis Ainsworth contacts the FBI and tells them that the FDN has become more involved in selling arms and cocaine for personal gain than in the military effort to overthrow the current Sandinistas. In that year, Blandone leaves LA and moves to Miami. FBI discontinues its investigation. Ricky Ross leaves LA a couple months later, and the Ricky Ross Task Force disbands. November of that year, George Bush is elected president. So moving on, we got the Sandinistas and the Contras. They signed a truce. Ricky Ross got indicted in Texas on cocaine conspiracy charges, and Ricky Ross moved from LA to Cincinnati. Nora Meneses is indicted by the federal grand jury in San Francisco for acts committed in 1984 and 1985. An arrest warrant is issued the same day. Both are put under seal and never made public in the U.S. Let's see here. This is a really big time because for everything that I tell you of where they had a case, there's either somebody choosing not to prosecute or someone choosing to seal it, to hide it. They don't want this information out.
No, they don't, man. And I think that's the frustrating thing about all this stuff that's going on. If you guys are just joining us here, thanks Zodiac Obama for hanging out with us. Mastache, thanks for hanging out with us. Matthew Hunter, Errol, thank you guys for hanging out, for joining the call. They're trying to keep it under wraps so much, and it makes me think about like all the crap that's happening, like it's happening in the hood. So here in Metro Detroit, we had this thing called YBI, Young Boys Incorporated, and it got really crazy here, man. These things, I mean, like YBI was the epitome of if anyone ever seen that movie New Jack City, that was them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Carter.
Yeah, all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yeah, if you don't live in this, you ain't coming in. We control the whole building.
Yeah. I mean, whole territories. We're going to share a link there with you about, some news articles that are there. See if I can get a picture of Gary Webb so you guys can see who this guy is. And some pictures there of Ricky Ross, or Rick Ross, not Rick Rose, not the gangster, the prison security policeman turned rapper. Not that dude, but the real cat.
So moving forward, through the timeline here, we got multiple busts by the FBI on multiple drug dealers, people inside all of these. During that time, Blandone returns to Southern California, resumes cocaine dealing. Ricky Ross was arrested in November 28th in LA on a Cincinnati warrant. So they finally got him in custody. Now we're in the 1990. 1990, people, 18 years ago. DEA in San Diego begins an investigation into Blandone. Undercover DEA agents meet with Blandone, who mentions that he is due to receive $1 million back from the U.S. government. Holy shit, another dude's getting a payday, huh?
Everybody's getting broke off.
Ricky Ross pleads guilty to drug charges in Cincinnati. The defense lawyer in the FBI police corruption sting tells the press about Blandone in 1986 raids, and he claims that CIA involvement is. The attorney is hit with an immediate gag order by a federal judge. Again, they're shutting it down.
Man.
1991, Ricky Ross pleads guilty to drug charges, receives 10 years in federal prison. Blandone is on audio and videotape negotiating a 50-kilo drug deal with a DEA informant. In August, Ricky Ross begins testifying against the police in the LA corruption trials. So again, not only are we dealing with what seems to be a corrupt government, corrupt officials in multiple countries, but now we're getting telltale signs that even the police departments in LA are as corrupt. So they had a hand in it.
Wow. Man.
In November, Nicaraguan police arrest Nora Meneses, and this is the guy we first started talking about, and they seize 725 kilos of cocaine. Later that year, Blandone is arrested on a conspiracy and drug charge by the LAPD, but the charges are dropped at the request of the Justice Department.
Oh, how convenient.
Holy shit. What?
How convenient. Oh, wow.
They know guy is able to get 725 kilos of cocaine. That's in November. And a month later, he's arrested, and the charges are dropped by the Justice Department. That's horrible. 91 is kind of a quiet year. Quiet year, believe it or not. Moving into 92, we've got Blandone and his wife are arrested in San Diego at the INS offices. They went to pick up a green card. Later that year, Nora Meneses is convicted of cocaine trafficking in Nicaragua. He's sentenced to 30 years. And they said he's serving that in the TPTA prison. Horrible with that. October 13th of that year, Blandone cuts a deal with the government, which reduces a probable life sentence to 48 months in jail. 48 months. That's 4 years. Hold on. Life sentence reduced to 4 years.
It's crazy, man. That's absurd, bro. That is I just don't understand, man. For those who don't know who I just posted there a picture and image. Looks like they did a movie there on his findings. Movie that came out.
They did.
A little while
Dark
ago.
Alliance.
Yeah. Kill the Messenger. I guess it's based on that, and interesting movie. I may have to check that out now. This is intriguing information.
Very interesting movie.
Oh yeah. So I was told that Zodiac had information there on what's going on. Zodiac, why don't you join the call, man, if you can? He knows people that were directly involved with this.
There was a lot. This is a big thing. This touches.
We might have to do a part 2 to this information. This is a lot of information.
Well, I'm almost done with my timeline, so let me just speed through it here.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you're good, man. No, you were good. I'm just saying, it's just so much information, though. It's like crazy.
So in 93, Ricky Ross was sentenced in 91 to a 10-year prison sentence, but in 93 he was released. He was released from federal prison after serving only 4 years. He starts rebuilding an old theater in South Central LA.
Wow.
November 10th of that year, Ross is convicted on an old conspiracy case to deliver a controlled substance to Smith County, Texas. He returned to jail. August 12th, 94, DEA targets Rick Ross in a drug sting a few weeks before he was released from prison. September of that year, Blandone walks out of jail on the arm of an INS agent, a free man. Blandone in October is now a DEA informant, and he begins negotiating a drug deal with Rick Ross. You guys got to understand, Rick Ross was the one that got away. That was the one loose end that they couldn't tie up. So here they are plotting and using a known DEA informant to get him. So it's like, we didn't get you the first time, we're going to get you again. And this time, we're going to take you. So 95, Rick Ross was arrested in a DEA sting. So evidently, Blandone came to him, said, hey, man, I'm in a bad way, and you and I are bros, and I ain't never flipped on you and all of this. I need your help. And I guess Ricky Ross went and helped him out, and they picked him up on it. It's just how it works. So he goes back to prison. Here we go, guys. 1995, July. Gary Webb begins investigating the Blandone Contra cocaine dealing and learns of the drug sales to Ross in South Central. DEA agents meet with Webb to dissuade him from writing about Blandone. 2 weeks later, former Costa Rica DEA agent Nez resigns from a top DEA position. DEA alerts CIA that Webb is investigating the Contra drug dealing and is trying to locate Meneses, who the DEA expects will admit to the Contra drug dealing. Ross goes on trial in San Diego and is convicted. Blandone testifies as a prosecution witness, admits Contra drug dealing. August, Dark Alliance appears in the San Jose Mercury News. September, CIA and Justice Department launch an internal investigation of the Dark Alliance allegations. In October, Ricky Ross is sentenced to life without parole.
Man. So he's taking a rap basically for everything that's going on.
He is. So in November, the CIA chief at that time, John Duchess or something like that, makes an unprecedented trip to South Central LA in response to public outrage over the Dark Alliance allegations. 1997, Mercury News editor Jerry Sapisis recants some of the findings of the Dark Alliance series. Webb disagrees and is yanked off the story and resigns from the bureau. In November 19th, Webb quits the Mercury News. In December, Attorney General Janet Reno refuses to release a declassified report by the Justice Department Inspector General on the U.S. government's handling of Blandone and the Meneses investigations. 1998, CIA declassifies and releases one volume of a 2-volume report on its internal investigation of the Contra drug dealing. Volume 2 is still classified.
This is crazy, bro.
March, CIA Inspector General Fred Hiltz tells Congress that the CIA had secret deal with the Justice Department from 1982 to 1995, which permitted the agency to avoid reporting cases of drug trafficking by its agents and assets.
You guys got to hear this, man. I hope this is helping somebody tonight, man, to understand where we're at in the world right now, why everything looks funky. We're talking about the Dark Alliance. What? Rick Ross. We're on the Rick Ross segment now. Go ahead, finish, please.
So why is all of this really important? Well, let's look at what happened as a result of large amounts of poverty-driven or lower economic people are drug addicted. At that time, people like Maxine Waters, yes, the same Maxine Waters that you see today, she starts going on and telling the story of this, and this should be outrage, and she's outraged, and that's great. But they made a really bad mistake because they were worried about this drug plaguing their communities. They themselves mandated drug sentence laws that were so harsh, and they locked away large amounts of African American men.
Yeah.
They basically, that didn't do anything except leave people without a father. The children ran the streets. Mom's got to go to work, right, and do the responsible thing. And the children went out and got involved into a lot of the drug dealing, the gangs, the Crips, the Bloods, all of the people who were the money movers and drug movers. So the effect to the African American community alone in itself was devastating, but it was their own reaction by their senators and congressmen that was the actual chop off the head. Those mandatory drug sentences that they put in play at that time were decimated the African American communities that have been plagued by this epidemic for 40 years.
This is crazy, man. 40 years, and it's still happening.
It is the ramification will never undo it. Never. It can't be undone. Once those drugs are in your system, you're talking about mental augmentation. You're talking about severe addiction, because crack cocaine is it's so addicting. And I remember at that time, I think the sentencing laws were like, for the same amount of crack as coke, you'd get 10 times the sentence in crack as you would for coke. So if you wanted to go with a lighter sentence, don't touch crack, just distribute coke.
It's destroyed not only just the inner city, it's destroyed a lot of musicians that were associated with it that come out of these environments. Zodiac Obama, Forge and Nancy. Hey, keep in mind, guys, we love donations, right? We're not about to do a telethon or anything like that.
Right.
But we love donations. Keep that in mind. Feel free to donate. But Zodiac Obama says says Sheriff's Department sent crack to Harlem because Caucasians or whites couldn't afford cocaine. Blacks couldn't afford the cocaine. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was it was a downgrade on what they were receiving. Peeps cooking it up. Yeah. About the other, man. You crazy, man. Yeah, crack invented in 82 from cocaine. Indeed, you're correct.
Yeah. So
poor man's fix.
Yeah. So when we look at this particular drug, it's devastated, and it still devastates. It's still here today. Yeah. It's here more than anything, and there are some other controversial figures that are tied into this. So one of the guys that was running drugs, he was basically flying in and out to I believe it was an airstrip in Mena, Arkansas. And at the time this was going on, Bill Clinton was governor of Arkansas. So if you go back and you look at some of Bill Clinton's brother was caught in an investigative sting on drugs and stuff. And he admitted, and they have him on video, and you guys go on YouTube and watch this. They actually have the video of him saying, "Hey, man, my brother's got a nose for cocaine like a dog, like you wouldn't believe." And there are a lot of people coming out that talk about the Clintons and Bill Clinton in Arkansas. And like I said, a lot of the Clinton supporters, they don't want to recognize this fact. But the early days in Arkansas, there were a lot of drugs, a lot of cocaine. It was a prevalent drug in Arkansas. And anybody who wants to tell me, no, that wasn't the case, then please. I've got a truck, a chain. I can attach it to you and pull your head out of your own ass. No, it's supposed to be a friendly show, but when we look at a conspiracy theory, there ain't no politics involved.
No.
We look at the stuff and we look at it. And at the time, if you go back and look in the same time areas and the same timeline that I'm talking about, that was the proverbial Clinton rise to power. Now, Bill Clinton, on his way out the door, pardoned a lot of people who were committed of crimes. One of those, and I'm going to go right now, Google his name because it's on the top of my head, but I can't. Bill Clinton pardons. I want to think his name is Barry Seal.
Wow.
I believe. So Bill Clinton pardoned a number of people. Nicholas M. Arta or Atiri in 1983, importation of cocaine. Bernice Ruth, money laundering and conspiracy. We've got Chris Harmon, 1989, conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute cocaine. We have Scott Bain, unlawful distribution of marijuana. David Blamped, possession with intent to distribute cocaine. We have so many cocaines. Donna Chambers, intent to distribute cocaine. We have so many cocaine basic pardons coming from Bill Clinton. Now, you guys can go online and you can search for all of Bill Clinton's pardons. He did 41 of them. Or I'm sorry, maybe more than that. He did a lot more than that, actually. About 155, to be exact. Some of these people, we don't have listings on what their actual crime was. We go look it up, but for the show, we didn't. But what we wanted to show is we wanted to show a lot of these people at that time who were distributing and caught up with cocaine. They received pardons from the people running our country. This is bad, horrible. So when we start to piece together, what we're starting to see is there was a lot of popular figures in politics, in Congress, in government positions that one way, shape, or another, they added to this horrible thing that we've been dealing with.
Exactly. They were adding to the flames. It's unreal.
Yeah. So, I mean, if anybody gets a chance, definitely go watch the movie Kill the Messenger. Go do your own research on Dark Alliance, on all of the people that I mentioned tonight. This is all public information and it's out there. You don't have to get an account anywhere. You don't have to sign up anywhere. Just go to Google, start typing it in and pull it back. And I'm not trying to shame our history or anything. That's not what this show's about. But here we are. We live in a very political time. This is 2018. A lot of people don't like Trump. A lot of people don't like the other side. There's a big battle going on for border security. And we need security. We need to stop the drugs from coming into all borders, whether it's north, south, east, west, right? We need to shut down the people that are in operation who are allowing this. So when I look at today and I look at the news, you know, I see this guy, Jim Acosta, going down into Texas because he wants to basically fuck with Trump. I'm sorry again for the language. And he's like, hey, man, there ain't no immigration thing here. Well, like me and everybody else on the internet said, bro, that's because there's a wall.
Yeah.
You know, so another person comes through and says, oh, well, this wall that they want to build, look, we can cut right through it. Of course you can. It doesn't matter if you put a concrete structure on there. They can go over there with hammers and construction equipment and bust holes in the wall. This is going to be a maintenance expense.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what kind of barrier we put up. The only thing that's going to stop these people and is 100% sure is the one thing that no one wants to do, which is put armed people on the border forever.
So that brings us to modern day now, to where we're at.
Correct.
Do you think the border is the wall is really gonna really keep out drugs? I mean, at the end of the day, do you think?
No, I don't solely think that's going to end the drug problem, but I think that's going to make it very hard because a lot of these people that are coming in, you know, not all of them are clean. A lot have criminal records. That's number one. And
right.
By the way, try to go to another country. Go to Canada with a DUI. See if they let you in. That's just that's a Dewey. right?
Wow.
Yeah, they'll turn you away at the border. And that every country has this. Okay, so we're nothing different. So, but we need border security. We need a wall. We need to shut down as many places that people can come through. Now, I don't care what you call a wall, because I call people armed with AK-47s on the border a wall too. It's just a different kind of wall. And unless you're going to put manned people there, you got to put something else there. And then it's got to be monitored. And then it's got to be repaired. You know what I mean? And all of the people coming into the United States, not all of these people are bad, but we have a process. And that process is put there to protect us against bad people coming in. And everybody has to go through that. And the people that are bypassing that process, they're not doing themselves any favors, because in with these people that are bypassing are the criminals. And those are the ones that are making the big problem. It's not the mom and the child wanting to come in because they want a better life. It's not the problem. The problem is that's not all that's coming in. And there's certain political groups in the United States that don't want to admit that, because the moment that they admit that, it blows the hole in their case of we don't need a wall, that we don't need border protection. So, and much like a lot of politics, if I show you an apple, or what the rest of the world conceives of an apple, the other side will stand there and yell banana. And even though it's not really a banana, if they can get enough people to say banana, 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 then for them, that's where it is.
See, I feel that way about Bitcoin. People keep saying it's going to drop down to $2,000, and everyone's going to put in their buy orders for it at that point.
That'd be awesome. I mean, so when we start talking about conspiracies, what we need to also understand is that today, when we're having massive problems in our government with agreeing or people wanting to work together, that it's everybody else in the United States that's going to hurt. And I'm not saying that Trump should open the border. He shouldn't. He needs to close it. I don't like Trump as much as most people don't like Trump, but I don't like the other side either, because I see the ill that both sides do. Actually, there's like four sides. So you got the conservatives, you got the liberals, you got the Tea Party, you got the Democrats, and you got the Republicans. And in my standpoint, you're all part of the problem, because it's all of your guys' bickering back and forth. Everybody else suffers. So people like Donald Trump, no, close the wall, bro. People like Maxine Waters, you know, you got problems, address them, but do it in a different way.
Yeah.
Oh, you know,
loves Trump, God. Okay. All right.
So I mean,
go ahead.
So just the last thing I'm going to say on it is this. If we allow these people in office to keep acting like this is all they're going to do. So again, get involved in the voting process, get involved in research, take a stand. I'm not talking a violent stand, but arm yourself with knowledge. That way, so when somebody comes along and doesn't understand why we have these problems, like much millennials don't understand what we talked about tonight, but they grew up in it. You know, and a lot of these people, they put blame on the wrong people.
Yeah.
Put blame on the right people for once in your life. Get educated. Understand the world you live in and how it operates. Stop listening to everybody else's words. Do your own research, and you will find a lot more conspiracy theories that are as bad as this one.
Oh, yes.
And we'll cover some of those on future shows.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Ross Perot. This is a good time now to ask your questions and ask away. Any questions out there, please. Don't be afraid to express yourself. Crypto Gangs, I don't know if you're really just standing that still in your picture on your video live feed, or if that's like a picture.
Actually, I cut off my camera, so
I'm
still
okay.
showing
I'm gonna try to figure that out, man. I'm like, okay, dude, this dude can't be looking that serious, like straight ahead like this. Any questions out there? I believe Johnny wants to know. Maybe Johnny doesn't have a good connection right now. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Johnny wants to know there. How will crypto help this problem, or can crypto help this problem at all?
I really wouldn't say that this is a crypto problem, but where it ties in kind of with crypto is right now we're looking at a lot of regulation, and we're looking at a lot of regulation because of places like Silk Road. And Silk Road basically did the same thing as what Ricky Ross did with crack cocaine to online crypto and the dark web.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of the reasons why we face severe regulation are because of things like these. So how it ties into crypto is everybody look up Silk Road, Dread Pirate Roberts. You know, if you don't know what Silk Road is, then what are you doing in crypto? Because Silk Road's like a household name. So yeah, I'd say that that's really the tie-in, and there were a lot of like, so when they got Dread, he was at I believe a library, and they actually had some cops basically posing as a couple that were having an argument, and they distracted him from away from his computer, and then the moment he was distracted, another government agent grabbed the laptop that he was using, just grabbed it right off the table so he couldn't delete anything, and handed it to another guy, and that guy's banging in a USB stick, right, to get all of the information before anything could be deleted. And directly because of that, you'll find a USB kill. Just go to Google and search for USB kill. This is an application that you can run on a non-Windows computer, like a Mac or a Linux. And what it does is it whitelists USB devices, and you can set it up so that when someone sticks in a foreign device, that it can delete your drive right off the bat.
Wow.
As a precautionary measure. So, because of these arrests and because of this, it spurns technology, right? If you look at Chapo, wait, who's the guy who's on trial now? The guy who was on the run, escaped from El Chapo. That guy right there hired an IT guy to manage his phone systems, and basically bought a bunch of phones, Blackberries and stuff, and had this guy install spyware on it. Okay.
Wow.
And he would give it to all of his people, and he would sit there and listen into all their conversations. Sometimes he would call them up and have a conversation before, and then turn on the microphone on the device so he could sit there and listen to what the person said after the conversation was over. So drugs and criminal enterprises are now turning to technology to hide encryption, things like that. So like, if you want to get the government to look at you, use encryption. Simple. If you're encrypting your stuff, you are standing out to them. That's fact. So for all the people who want crypto, understand that's a double-edged sword. For all the people who want, secure encrypted communications, that right there is a double-edged sword. Anytime you're trying to hide something, the government will say, why? So again, all of this stuff that we shared tonight, you need to think right now, we are in a heavy period of where people are saying we are going to make change in our government. And some of the people that you see standing on TV, rest assured, in 5 years, you will see some of these people go to jail. You will see some of these people arrested. And if you really want to get a good look at who they are, go look up their criminal convictions, because what you're going to find is 2/3 of these people in office have criminal convictions. It's just the laws that are stated right now, that doesn't disbar them from working in that position. And in my opinion, that's something that needs to change now. If you have a felony crime, if you have that kind of stuff, you need to get out of office, because your credibility is now at risk. And so that's everything. That's from every law, bill, anything you do is now tainted. And this is how the American people need to start looking at it.
Yeah.
Not letting these people, say that we're here for you, because they're not. They're not. The United States people have suffered more under all of these Democrats and Republicans than anybody can even possibly conceive. And that's fact.
Man, you said a lot of cool stuff tonight. When I say cool stuff like that, it's eye-opening stuff. And thanks, Digi, for putting it all on the line and getting us under some serious attacks from the powers that be. Now, I guess we'll definitely be on the watch list. I guess all publicity is good publicity, right?
Well, like I said, I thanked them for being here on time. I was pretty nice and polite.
Yeah, literally, when you said that, everything went real wacky for a moment. It's like everything went dark. I think Johnny said it went dark on his side of things too.
Oh yeah.
So
I just assume that today's day and age, everyone's listening.
Yeah.
And if it's not our own government, it's Britain, you know, or some other government. You know, these people have access to everything that, you know, that we're doing. There's nothing here. So don't hide. Just be in plain sight. You know, I don't worry about it myself.
Wow. Man, hey, any questions out there? A lot of good stuff. Any questions for the crowd? Jeremy Lee, man, you got so many comments here tonight. Let me start at the top here. I'm gonna put crack on the blockchain. Stash, you're crazy. What do you feel about a viable solution or possible way we can correct Uncle Sam for their actions?
Well, you push for the same transparency as you push in the Bitcoin blockchain. You don't allow them to do that. It's simple. You see, it's we the people, by the people, for the people. It's not the government, for the government, by the government, fuck the people. And the only way that the people are going to get in charge of the government is if they wake up and stop under. Okay, so like the government, the greatest trick. These people are like Harry fucking Houdini. Sorry about my language. These people have got us so divided amongst ourselves, fighting over gender, race, equality, that we're missing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And it's not ourselves that we need to fear. It's them and this regulatory sword that they can just pass whenever they want, right? And that's a big problem. So if you're an activist and you're out there and you're pushing your agenda, maybe there's a bigger agenda that you should be pushing. Maybe there's a bigger issue out there that's affecting more people. And I grew up in a poor economic area. White was a minority, you know, and I understand poverty. And one thing I know for sure is that when you have nothing and everybody else has everything, life is bleak, man. And the best way for people to get something isn't to go out and take it, is to work for it, like everybody has for hundreds of years. No one's gonna come and save you, because if they do, rest assured, bro, they got an alternate agenda, and you ain't it.
Yeah, and see, that's what I feel about the wall, right? I feel as though they build the wall, it's gonna have a double-edged sword. I believe it's gonna be a wall that's gonna keep people out, yeah. And I also believe it's gonna be to keep people in that want to escape when everything really hits the fan. So I think that's where they're going to come to an agreement on.
Well, when you look at what happens,
yeah,
you get the drugs that come in, get sold in the United States, and then you get money. They used to take the money back over the border. So if you think about that, any way that we can restrict that from leaving can't get back to them. That drug business isn't lucrative if they can't get funds. So, you know, people used to, they can't move money anymore because of with all the banking laws. Yeah. So now they're buying other things like guns and all of these and taking them south over the border. So really border security has to be two-way.
I kind of feel like it's see, the way I look at government, I guess I'm kind of a negative person though, but the way I look at it is if the government's pushing it, they have an ulterior motive. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's like either they want full control of the drugs to where they're controlling it and they say who can come in and who can't, or, you know, so that's basically where my mind goes when I hear wall. I hear we want full control and it's out of control, but we want total control of it. The drugs won't stop. I don't care if there's a wall. I don't care if there's a military. The military will be bought off. Whoever's at the border will be bought off. There's no way they're going to stop, in my opinion.
But they ain't coming through the wall. You know, so you build a wall, right? Let's say there's no corrupt customs people. There's no corrupt anything. What you're going to get is people going back to the 1600s and building trebuchets and then launching the stuff over the wall. So like you'll see drugs coming this way. You'll see money going the other way. They'll just shoot it over it, right?
One way or another, yeah, it's coming in. It ain't stopping because it's too much money to be made in drugs in the United States. That's not going to stop. One way or another, it's coming in.
Sure.
And they're going to get their money.
So watches Alex Jones. They were talking about the what was it, C-137s or whatever, flying it in from Columbia at the military bases, and that was when Clinton was in office.
Correct.
Yeah, and they even have water boats that's like millions of dollar type boats, almost like submarines. You know what I'm saying? That comes in.
Narco subs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the point is we know, and everybody with common sense knows that just putting up a wall isn't going to stop the drugs 100%. But it's not really about stopping it 100%. It's about cutting down avenues. And pack mules coming over the border with vast quantities of drugs on their back, that has been. We've seen that for 40 years. People crossing the Rio Grande border with large amounts of drugs getting picked up. So do we have evidence that says that our not having a wall gives people ability to do that? We do. But before they were packing it in on drug mules, you're right. They bring it in by airplane. So it's not really, TSA and all of this. Yeah, they're there, and that'll cut down on all the hobbyist drug dealers and this and that. But they're not the single solution. The wall's not the single solution. A better government's not a single solution.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you really believe that they want to solve this problem? Like in your mind, you really believe the government wants to stop drugs coming in the United States? 100%. That's their goal.
So, okay. I don't like the government we have, but I recognize the need for government.
No, yeah, and I agree with that as well. But my point is, like, do you think the motive that they're pushing us with, we need a wall because of the drugs, the illegals, the rapists, and everybody else that's coming in, do you really believe like that's the goal? Or do you think that maybe they could have an ulterior motive?
No, I believe that is the goal.
Okay.
I've seen it firsthand. I've seen the effect of it firsthand. I don't have to go down to a border. Like, I grew up in poverty. I know what it's like.
Yeah, me too. I was in poverty.
Yeah. And I did some time as a kid. And I was in with some people, and that was a criminal education process. That's all it was. And when I see the government talking about a wall, and I hear the reasons they're put forth, I agree with them. I hold, and this is, for me, is the big thing. When you create safe spaces inside the United States for people who probably shouldn't be here to go, then the first people, in my opinion, that get hurt are the people that reside in that same safe space. Which is, if you come to the United States and you don't speak English, then you're probably going to hang around people that speak your language. And if you're a criminal or you're going to do that kind of stuff, then it's going to be probably in those places and with those people that you're going to do that. I think the wall is a good start to that. And now, again, when we listen to their reasons, I see their reasons, but I also understand that there's a bunch of people there that say we don't want a wall because they want the drugs here. They're probably part of it.
Yeah.
And so for that, they don't want one.
Yeah, and I agree. If that's really the motive, but in my mind, to be honest, I don't think that is. But if that really is the motive, yeah, it definitely would cut back on drugs coming into the country as well as illegals. But at the end of the day, it's just hard for me to believe, especially knowing what you just told us with Bush and Reagan and all of these other politicians that were involved in getting crack cocaine into the United States, or cocaine period into the United States. It's just hard for me to believe that, that it's all cleaned up now. Now, who's in office now is a 100% clean person, and they don't, money don't how you say that, corrupt them.
No, it does. Money is absolutely corrupting. And so there's a percentage of our government that is very corrupt, and there's a percentage of it that's not.
Oh, yeah, see, and that's the part I don't believe. I think they all corrupt.
I don't think every single one of them is corrupt. I think that there are some good people there that really want to do some good things, but I think these people are drowned out in the echo. I don't think media gives any of the good people coverage, because I think that the media just has an agenda. They have the same agenda. The media is as corrupt, if not more corrupt, than the government. When Bill Clinton and them basically, and Obama created a bunch of policy that deregulated the media and allowed the 150 or so independent news organizations we had to basically get consolidated down to these few conglomerates that we have right now, that was the worst thing in the world for us. Because now you get a whole bunch of people that don't know anything that turn to them and take what they say as gospel. So again, I think that there's some very good people in office. I think that there's some people there that really care about the American people. I just think there's some people in there that got their own agenda. And the agendas that I'm seeing put forth by people are political, racial, gender. And I don't ever remember the last time where I ever worried about a gender issue. I mean, my cousin, when I was a kid, got so addicted to drugs that he used to break into his parents' house and steal everything. They actually had to change all the locks, and it was horrible.
Wow.
And dude his life was just out of control for years, just from the drugs that he was in. And we're not talking like bro smoke weed, right? I don't know anybody that's went and stuck up a store for weed, but these were harder drugs, like crack, and it's devastating. So when I look at these people in office right now, and I do my research, especially on topics like tonight, I see some of these same people still there. Maxine Waters is. And Maxine Waters doesn't get any slack she doesn't get any blowback for those harsh drugs sentences that they instituted for all those people that she helped lock up. But a lot of people see her as a savior. I see her as a devil. And anybody who did this to these people and still keep doing it to these people, I don't see value in them. But other people do. They jump on her bandwagon because, one, she's a woman. So there's a lot of people out there that don't care about anything. It's just, if you're the same as them, they're all about you. I see a lot of people embrace her because of her race. And I also seen the same thing happen with Barack Obama. But then I started seeing all the interviews, especially with people like Ice-T and this and that. And they say he didn't do enough for him. Because remember, these people are still suffering.
And you're bringing up an excellent point right here, right? So with that being said, I think there's a trend going on right now with with Trump and the people that voted him in, right? So because they voted Trump in, those, poor Caucasians, whites, whatever the politically correct term is now these days, that vote him in that were in very rural places, they don't feel as though they're getting enough right now. And I almost feel like if he doesn't build this wall, there's going to be like craziness in the streets. Forget bridge cards not getting filled at the end of the month. You know what I mean? It's going to be folks getting lynched.
I think he's going to get his wall because he knows that if he don't get the wall, he will not get reelected. Or if he don't put the effort showing that I did everything I said I was going to do, I did everything I tried to do it. You know what I'm saying? If he don't put that, he will not get reelected because those people that elected him, they want that wall. That was like the key, the key ingredient for him getting elected was.
But that's like this. That's the same rhetoric that was preached in the 20s, though, from the Klan meetings.
That's right, and also Mexico was going to pay for it, but they let that go. They okay with Mexico not paying for it.
Mexico will pay for that wall.
Yeah, that's what he said. According
directly
to
or indirectly.
I was
this is
saying,
what people don't understand. If we build a wall and all of these people come to the wall like they're doing right now, that creates an economic strain on Mexico. And they're already saying it. They're saying that they have governors down there. They're saying, we are not going to take the money that's for our people and spend it on these people coming in from another country.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's devastating financially.
Yeah, and they are, according to what news reporters are saying, they're coming from Honduras and everywhere else. But I don't know, man. I'm just one of those kind of guys. I don't know. I don't trust politicians, period.
Man, I don't either. I'm the same way. It's always going to be something. There's always going to be some kind of scam involved.
20 years from now is going to be a story that came out about that wall and why it was built and corrupt. If they put military down there, it's going to be corrupt military letting drugs in. If the price is right, they'll let an illegal in. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
That's 1 out of 100 illegals that would have been here before.
Yeah, that's. I guess you're right on that.
So, so again, look, man, I didn't vote for either one of the people. I couldn't. Both of them are obnoxiously evil.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but we have the show that we talked about tonight. I've showed a clear and precise pattern of bad government throughout 30 years in time.
I know, and that's why it's hard for me to believe that this is a good one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But there's one thing that people are forgetting. Donald Trump is not part of that 30-year thing.
Man, he's been tied up with them for years. The Clintons especially.
But
He
not
was in bed with the Clintons for a year. That was his best friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but he wasn't in office as a senator or a rule maker or a lawmaker. And so because of his style, because of how he is, he's the one person that I do think will destroy that same corrupt system. And I think the corrupt system's destroying itself with just him being there. Let me give you a good example of that system.
Wait, before you do that, I just because you said that, the one thing that pops in my head is that if that is true, what you're saying, then we'll be watching the news and it'll be another JFK. If that's true, they will not let that happen, in my opinion. If he's really against them and they're not all working together or whatever, you know what I'm saying, in bed, then there's going to be a story on the news before he could get away with shutting them down. They will not let that happen.
It very well could work like that. You got Hoffa, you got all the other conspiracy theories, you know, the JFK assassination. We got a lot of conspiracy theories in the United States. But the one thing I know for sure is Donald Trump is the one thing that's going to destroy the system that I've had a problem with for 35 years. And he's doing a really good job of it. Forget everything else he says. What he is doing right now, take Jim Acosta, for example. For years, there were no rules or anything governing press in the White House. But because this guy is such an asshole, he's fucked over every journalist from here on out, because now there are rules that basically say that if you don't act like this, you're gone. And so again, we see this kind of change that's coming in where the status quo is no longer the status quo. That is what makes me happy, because he's rattling that tree. Draining the swamp is just a phrase for a lot of different things. It doesn't mean take away all government corruption. It also means expose it. It also means hinder it. It also means throw a monkey wrench into it. So when I look at, is there going to be a lot of good that comes from Donald Trump? Probably, but we're not going to feel it in his presidency. It's going to come from the effect of his presidency. It's in the future. It's the next president, because rest assured, correct. The next president that comes in, let's say they're Democrat. Oh man. Oh, that's going to be a bad day. Can you imagine, because of all these Democrats going anti-Trump and all of this, can you imagine what's going to happen when that role is reversed? Obama went on TV saying we need a wall. A wall. Other people that the Democrats or all of these people who don't want a wall now, they embraced all of those people. And when those people said it, they were like, yeah, we need border security. But now, because Trump's saying it, now we rewind all those conversations in the past. Every person who goes out there and starts complaining about Donald Trump and him wanting to build a wall, go look at Barack Obama. Go look at all those other people that said the same thing that he's saying. And you tell me the only reason, you know, that you say it's wrong now is because Trump is, I'll believe you. You say anything else, then I don't even want to talk to you. Simple. I don't want to talk to you, because I don't have time for ignorant people. And I don't have time for people who grew up in a fantasy land that don't understand the world we live in. You need to educate yourself. And if you're not educating yourself, then you're blind to what is going on. And like I said, so Donald Trump to me is the anarchist, the chaos theory. The guy who was not supposed to be elected, who got elected. That is the chaos theory. And now what is going on in government is the extension of the chaos theory. He is going to shake, rattle, and roll the political system that has been corrupt for 30 years. Not saying it's not going to be corrupt when he's done, but I'm saying it's not going to be the same way. And for me, that's change. All of these people that are jumping on board, that are giving Donald Trump a hard time, go look at the people that you're putting up on a pedestal, because I just showed you where all of these old people were involved in all of this. So don't think that your candidate is any cleaner than another person, especially if we believe that all of government is corrupt. Then your candidate is just as corrupt as mine and the next guys.
They're all corrupt. All of them.
All of them. Every last one of them, including Trump.
Right. So tonight's show, being on a conspiracy theory and talking about Ricky Ross, he is the one living person that can actually tell you 100% this is how it works. And I would love to have Ricky Ross on the show. I'd love to talk to him. I'd love to spend a couple days with him.
Man, that would be awesome if we can get him on the show.
Just because, you know, he's got so much knowledge in his head that he probably still ain't told, you know, that he can't tell, right? Because there's probably a lot of stuff he didn't get hit on.
So I was gonna say, so the picture I posted of Ricky Ross, it's like he's free now. So how did that go down?
You know, there's a whole lot of reasons of why it's there. You know, there were some legal loopholes. There were some things like, you know, when you're working with a partner who's actually the government and he's getting you to do all this stuff, there's a little bit of entrapment. There's some Sixth Amendment, some Fourth Amendment. You know, you got a bunch of different things. So he's the one in a million. He went and he faced the system twice and still managed to get out and have a life. So right now he's doing a lot of, you know, talking. He's real big in the reform industry, you know, because he helped start a lot of these problems off. He's trying to do something positive in the life after. So he's traveling around. I mean, his last post was 11 hours ago on his Twitter, you know, whether that's him posting or his media manager, I don't know. But, you know, he's one of the people that can firsthand say what I'm talking about, what my fears are, you know. A lot of the fears most people will have, and they don't even know they have them until somebody says something and they think about it and say, wow, I never looked at it like that, but that scares me. And when I look at this whole topic of a conspiracy show, it scares me. There's enough evidence, like I said, to make the conspiracy believable. But then on the other part, you got human nature going, how could my government do this to me?
Oh,
so,
well, I mean, you know, it is what it is, man. You know.
Well, it is, but it's not supposed to happen. That's the point.
It's a government that has enough control, enough power to give people freedom, has enough power to take it away and to do it what they will, and everything in between. I'm a firm believer in that. So I think that's where we're at with it. And I think that's why everything seems so scary in a sense. The idea of what they're doing is a little scary because they can do whatever they want. I mean, heck, they're spraying us from the sky. Chemtrails. For those that don't believe that you need to wake up and smell the coffee on that one. It's the reason why all these smartphones are becoming easier, why they can listen to you while you're thinking, well, not thinking, but speaking out your thoughts, if you will. And you could be talking about one thing, and all of a sudden you look on your phone when you're getting ready to do a Google search, or you're on Facebook or whatever social media platform you use, that all of a sudden topics start popping up. So, I mean, this stuff is real. I mean, welcome to America. This is what it is. What's my man's name? Oh, go ahead.
It's no different in other countries. You don't think Britain has the same thing?
Oh, I'm pretty sure. The mega powers, yeah. I think because they're all on that same deal, man. That's what we're dealing with. The powers that be, they have their own little conglomerates in place, have their own form of tyranny. And I hate to use that word. I feel like the chocolate Alex Jones right now, but that's what we're experiencing right now. In a sense, a prison planet. Real quick, too, I want to get to some other questions before we get ready to shut this mother down. Josh Allen, thanks for joining the show. Zodiac Obama, man, you're just dropping all sorts of craziness tonight. There's like so much I can't even get into it. We gotta have part 2 of this show. Josh Allen, don't forget that MSMU's report on things other than the president's tweets. Now CNN is literally nothing but Trump 24/7.
Correct.
Cabal is targeting him, no doubt. Hey, you can't just drop Cabal names and then not speak on that a little bit. My man, Josh Allen. Is anyone familiar with the term Cabal and what it's all about? Or are we about to get into one of them things where we need my man Kent Lewis on the show to go deeper into that? I wish he was listening. Shout out to Kent Lewis and freedom.social. Have a good night and be safe. Johnny, you out of here? Gotta jump. Oh, John Allen. Okay. I called you Josh Allen, man, like you're the Buffalo Bills quarterback. Great stream, Crypto Creeper. Enjoying it. Cool. Anyone pull up Johnny, on your end, did you pull up what that cabal is all about? Because my man all of a sudden is deucing out. He can't leave me. You can't leave us on the hanger like that and not talk about that. That's not fair. All right, so
I think that probably has something to do with like Luciferian type.
Yep,
You know,
I think
stuff
that's what
like
it is.
that.
I'm
Yeah.
reading it right now. It says a cabal is a group of people united in the same or in some design. Now, the Cabal Ministry, an American group of mathematicians centralized or concentrated in Southern California. The Cabal, interesting. But the way he spelled it is a town in Pakistan or a desert fortification found in northern Kuwait used to house American military and coalition forces.
Yes, 20 government bases, about 28,000 weapons. Each one of them get about 20,000 to 100,000 a month annually. Yeah, Cabal is a real hotbed right now for weapons and militias.
So the Cabal theory,
That's something different.
yeah, is a set of theorists in Southern California, particularly at UCLA, Caltech, blah blah blah. Organization and procedures range from informal to non-existent. So it is difficult to say whether it still exists or... Okay, so that's on some other stuff. Now, Cabal Ministry refers to a high group of high counselors of King Charles II of England, Scotland, Ireland from 1668 and 1674. But I've heard that term Cabal spelled with a C-A-B-A-L in reference to Bill Clinton, right? Or Kabbalist. And that's when it gets interesting. If anyone can bring that up and wants to share that, I'm also looking that up. So now when I type that in, see text Mars. That's just gonna get to... I don't know if we want to go that direction tonight, man. This is when it's gonna get funky, right? So, Jewish Kabbalah. I wonder if that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking he was talking about.
Yeah, I've heard it associated with that. And if he's out there, he's gone.
See, I was thinking it was the conspiracy theory about, because there's another one that's based out of that area overseas, that where it's a conspiracy fact that the CIA and the Afghanistan's poppy fields are being grown by America as well as them.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and see, that's kind of where I was going with the wall thing. If that's conspiracy is true, obviously this is all speculation. Nobody really knows. But if that is true, one thing I did notice that President Trump, as well as some of his other people, they keep talking about fentanyl. Now, don't get me wrong. If somebody's going to take heroin or fentanyl, I would much rather them take heroin, because fentanyl is very, very deadly, but it's dirt cheap. So a lot of people that are addicted to heroin and they don't have money, they can afford to abuse fentanyl. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Man, fentanyl. All right, so that F word is a touchy word with me.
Okay.
Because the greatest musician ever walked the face of the earth supposedly died of an overdose of that.
Yeah.
All right. So, and I have a hard time believing, just based on what you're saying now I got a little pissed off, right? So, based on what you're saying now, is that they're saying a dude, this multi-millionaire musician that can play over 30 instruments, was so cheap and so poor that the only thing he could afford to get high on was fentanyl. Well,
it's strong too. I think it has a stronger or a lasting effect than heroin would. You know what I'm saying? And also, you got to understand.
Hey. Hi there.
I'm sorry.
Who do we have the pleasure of having on with us tonight?
My name is Nancy Jones.
Nancy Jones. Are you here? Are you from the government
Nancy
here to shut
Owens
us down?
Jones. Huh?
Are you here to shut us down with the government?
No. I knew Freeway, the one you call Freeway Rick. He's not from,
Okay, hold on.
He's from South Florida.
All right, hold on. So pause that thought. I want you to stay right there. Don't leave. You're the one that's been dropping all the information online tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Just pause. I want to hear this last point that my good buddy here was dropping. Go ahead, finish your thought, and we're going to get right to this young lady that just joined us on the line tonight.
Yeah, okay. So basically what I was saying about fentanyl is that it wasn't that whoever you're talking, I don't know if you're talking about Michael Jackson or
man, Prince. Come on, Michael
Prince.
Jackson.
Okay, yeah. But, you know, that's something you could get from a doctor. I don't see Prince trying to buy heroin. And plus, he may not have wanted to try heroin. You know what I'm trying to say? But
they said he had enough in there in his system that was just beyond. Yeah. That's a whole nother show, man, because I personally think he was assassinated.
Real quick, I just want to say, with the fentanyl thing, they keep talking about it. We need to shut China down. We need to stop the fentanyl from coming in. They keep saying that over and over again. So tying it in with the conspiracy of the U.S. is growing poppy and opium, making heroin, basically, then I see the argument. And therefore, I stand again and say all politicians are corrupt. I'll end on that. You can go ahead and bring in your call.
He said, all right, ma'am. Thank you for joining the show. We appreciate all the information you've been dropping on us tonight. So give us some insight on what's going on there with the Freeway, because you said you knew him, correct?
Yeah, I knew Freeway. I knew all of them.
Wow.
In the early 80s. Pablo Escobar, everybody wants you to believe that he comes from Colombia. He lived in America. Yeah, he didn't live in Colombia. See, that's what Bush, Clinton, everybody wants you to believe, is that he's from another country. He's not. He lived in America. He lived not too far from Freeway Rick, the one you call Freeway.
Mm-hmm.
Griselda. Ribby from Cocaine Cowboys. We all lived in the same area. Phil McConnell is also from Lewiston.
Yes. Many of the people that we're talking about either lived in Florida for a while or are from there.
Yeah, they're from there. I mean, you've got a gang that starts. They don't start 2,000 miles apart from each other.
That's crazy. So he was homegrown then.
Yeah, he was from the swamps. We're all from the Everglades. So that's what they say when they say drain the swamp. It's BS saying that they're going to drain the criminals out of there. Well, they're not going to, because they are the criminals.
Oh, man.
Trump was there. Clinton was there. Bush was there. Believe it or not, Osama bin Laden was there. Netanyahu was there. I mean, you name them. When they saw what Pablo was bringing in and our sheriff was not doing anything about, they all gathered. They all came to Lewiston.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, we're talking about connects that were selling $3 million worth of crack on the streets a day.
Yeah. It started at Pablo's house. It started as crack cocaine, and some of us didn't like the cocaines. I prefer amphetamines. This is what I was hooked on. So we took the cocaine and tried to make speed out of it. From speed, it became bubble gum, and people didn't like the bubble gum because it caused diarrhea. So from the bubble gum, what they did was they took it to a pharmacist by the name of Stevens. So when you hear the name Stevens, think of a pharmacist who knew how to make the crack cocaine. Now, whether he had this from previous information, I don't know. But I do know that it was invented in Lewiston, which, again, is where Freeway is from. This is where we were all from.
It's crazy. This is absolutely insane.
It went from the bubble gum, which Obama was one of the ones who tested out the bubble gum. He didn't like it. Nobody liked it. So Griselda Blanco, the one you know is Griselda Blanco, she took it to the pharmacist, and the pharmacist is the one who put, it got the crack cocaine, the formula together, and along with the Brillo, because Obama and I were some of the first ones tested for the crack cocaine.
Hold on,
From there, it was ordered by the sheriff to take the crack cocaine, once it was developed by Stevens, out to Harlem, because the whites, we could afford the cocaine. We had our connections. The blacks could not afford it. So it was considered a trash drug. It was taken and sold for really cheap out in Harlem. Freeway Rick is someone I worked for at the Glades restaurant. He and I were, when we were younger, we both worked at the restaurant, and he was literally one of the first or second. He was either the first or second person to sell crack cocaine in Harlem, probably in the United States, but definitely in Harlem.
This is crazy. Now, but were you saying Obama or were you saying a different name?
She said Obama.
Obama's real name is Alan Owens. His birth certificate was forged in 1985.
And did you say Trump as well? Was there?
This is getting weird, bro. Oh my God. Oh.
You got to stop thinking about you got to stop thinking about all of these things happening in Columbia, California, Boston, Chicago, all these other places. Bring it down to the swamp. This, in 1980, is where we all started. Now, some of the people got a little scared of what was happening because when everybody started getting high on the cocaine and the crack and everything, you know, you get psychotic, you get weird. And I mean, Pablo Escobar,
Weird.
He was already a killer. He was already killing off Americans in that area, in Clewiston. He was kicked out of Clewiston. He and his family, a huge Hispanic population, were kicked out of Clewiston into another area called Montura. So you had the whites living in Clewiston, you had the Hispanics living in Montura, and you had the blacks living in Harlem, Clewiston, Florida. So Pablo was angry that he got kicked out of Clewiston. His mother lost her job. She was a teacher. Now, they keep saying she's a teacher here, there, you know, in Columbia. No. This woman was a teacher in my elementary school in Clewiston, Florida. She was my second grade teacher. So he was angry at the Americans for kicking him out and what they did to survive, because a lot of them lost their jobs. What he did to survive was he started working for the mafia. Then what they would do is, you know, the mafia would kill off people, and of course you have to get rid of the bodies. Well, you bring the bodies out to Pablo, he cuts them up, you know, the Hispanics cut them up, and I mean, I did this too. You know, I worked for Pablo for a little bit. You cut up the bodies, you throw it into acid, and you know, went from Pablo working for mafia.
This is too much right here for me, man. Let me pause for the calls real quick, because there's something. This is really important. What I'm about to ask. Are you Barack Obama's sister?
Half sister, yeah.
What the?
Obama's father is white. His mother is black. She was murdered in 1985 in Pablo's compound.
Is anybody hearing this? Am I the only one hearing this right now?
I forged his birth certificate. I forged his identity. We went to Hawaii. Okay, I went to school as a journalist, and Obama wanted to go to school too. So I Griselda and I went to Hawaii. We looked at the records, the newspapers. I picked out a name, the closest one I could come to his birthday. Obama's birthday is off by 1 day. I could never find a male child dead. I mean, the child had to be dead so that he could assume the identity. I could not find a dead child on Obama's birthday. I found one a day off. So we stole that identity.
This is absolutely...
We stole that identity. We took a second trip back to Hawaii, and we killed off the real Obama family.
Oh, God, I'm such a marked man right now. They know where I live.
Can I ask you something?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So Trump was right. Obama birth certificate, he was correct on that, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So
yeah.
how did Trump know?
But here's the thing. Don't forget, Trump came there, too. Trump hooked up with... Okay, the KGB was moving in when Pablo got angry with the Americans, and the mafia Adam Walsh. Okay, when the Adam Walsh contract kill came up, Mafia said no. Mafia, and this was the Iceman and Whitey. Okay, they said no. We don't do women. We don't do children. Well, Mafia.
You talking about Whitey Bulger from the East Coast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Winter Hill Gang.
Freeway Rick. You can ask him.
Can you get him on the show with us?
Worked for he worked in a restaurant washing dishes, but the man who owned the restaurant was a Mafia underboss by the name of Anthony the Greek Toulis. Now you'll see that name Toulis cropping up. That'll give you a clue of what's going on. And there is a lawyer in the court now. Her last name, she's adopted. I can guarantee you her real name is not Toulis, but she's using the last name Toulis. I forget whether she's using it as a first name. So and I think that's with the Jerome Corsi. I'm not 100% certain. This is a recent development, but when you see the lawyer whose name is Toulis, clue in, because they're talking about a swamp. They're talking about Mafia. They're talking about Medellin cartel. Pablo worked for Mafia in America. And, of course, George Bush's Mafia. If you don't know that by now, I mean, who doesn't know that one by now?
We know about the Skull and Bones. God dang it. I can't believe this night is happening right now. Out of all the craziness I'm experiencing in life.
Well, I've got a YouTube channel. I've got all of this documented. I've been doing it since 2014.
Oh, can you please give me your link?
This is not unknown. Okay, it's just people just don't want to accept the truth. They don't want to accept the birth certificate is forged. Okay, the reason that they can never connect the birth, why Alan could never get the birth certificate out of Hawaii, is because the Obama has an H in the middle, and when Griselda and I were forging, Maya too. Now, Maya is the one who's identified as a sister. She's not his sister. She's a Delgado. She's a Hispanic. But she forged the second document. I forged one, and I messed up. I messed up the Stanley because I was copying off of the man's birth certificate, and the man's name was Stanley. So I was trying to concentrate on just, you don't make any mistakes, because if you do, you're going to end up in an acid bath. They're going to kill you. They're going to cut you up. They're going to throw you in an acid bath, and your family will never know what the hell happened to you.
I can't go driving tonight.
I was concentrating on just getting the typing done, and I wasn't thinking Stanley. I just was copying exactly off of the birth certificate, and I copied the Stanley off of the birth certificate. Ann Dunham, she's a real woman. She's still alive, as far as I know. The last time I met her. So she is, Alan kept coming to me saying, okay, what do I do next? Because I wrote his 4-page bio. I had a degree in journalism. I was working, had gone to school for journalism. So he kept coming to me saying, okay, what do I do next? What do I do next? And see, Skull and Bones Mafia, they started playing with them. They started toying with them. They said, okay, well, you got to do this. You got to have a four-paragraph bio. You have to do this. You have to have somebody write you a book. And because I was in school for journalism, Alan came to me to write a book. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. There's no way in hell. I'm just trying to survive here because the cartel's pissed off at me because I'm in journalism. I'm bumping from Palm Beach Community College, heading off to the University of Florida, and they're pissed. I mean, I'm just barely surviving right now. They're looking at me like they're ready. They want to kill me. Okay, and so Alan is constantly coming to me saying, I need this, I need this, I need that. And finally, I said, look, dude, you got to find somebody else to help you. I can't keep doing this. And that's when he connected with Ann Dunham. She's a teacher. Ann Dunham is the one who helped him along. My mother did the Pell Grants application. The mailman that they talk about, this is why Jerome Corsi's got his ass on the line here, because the mailman is not from Chicago. The mailman's from Clewiston. He's lying. He lied in his book. He will most likely be indicted that he's out there begging for money because he's been stripped of his money. So he went to Ann Dunham. Her father is Stanley, is the one who provided the birth certificate for me to copy off of. So she's the one that helped him continue. Now, he went off with Judge Scalia to Chicago. Why? Because Judge Scalia wanted his own personal hitman. That's why a lot of these people are in power. Not because they're smarter than you and I. It's because they go out and they get hitmen. They say, you know, you kill this one, you kill that one, and they rise in power. They rise in power. They continue to rise in power. That's why you have the same exact players from the 1980s still in power, including Pelosi. Oh, God, especially Pelosi, still in power today. The coup happened in the 1980s. Trump came out. Trump got hooked up with Pablo Escobar. Trump likes girls who urinate on him, okay? It's just his thing. And this is where the PP does it. And, of course, what they do, instead of bringing out the real witnesses, because they don't want all this exposed, they put in some actress like the Stormy Daniels. She's real pretty, you know, knows what to say, knows what not to say, you know, and then they start talking about this thing, and then, you know, you look at the woman and you say, well, yeah, you know, you can kind of understand why Trump did this and why Trump. No, it's to make sure that they don't connect him with Pablo Escobar. Again, who lived in America? People have got to stop thinking about him being from Colombia. Now, in 1985, things got around 83, things got really rough because there were so many murders going on in our town, so many girls disappearing. That's when he started, and he had already hooked up with George Bush long before this. So he had money through George Bush. George Bush provided military planes to build up this is why George Bush's ass is on the line. Hooked up with George Bush to build up the cocaine, and everybody knows this one. I mean, everybody has finally figured out that that George Bush is behind the cocaine fields. He would take our military, you know, Pablo would do like a little plane back and forth, just like a job. He did it Monday through Friday. George Bush came along and said, hey, look, I can give you military planes. You got your little old plane here, it can take so many kilos. You look at my military plane, honey, I can bring you a whole damn house. And that's the thing. When we would go down to Central and South America, there were no showers, there were no bathrooms. George Bush said to Pablo, he says, look, you want a bathroom? You look at my plane. I can bring you a whole damn house in this plane. And he did. They built up this big, humongous bathhouse. And this is when Obama and I were we were with the cartel, but Obama didn't have any power at this time. So they threw me, right after they built this bathhouse, they threw me in as a slave, sex slave. And I was in there for about a week. And then after that, that's when they brought my brother Obama in. Same thing, sex slave. And that's why he's got the name Bathhouse.
Whoa, man, hold on.
You got to back up.
Yeah, he just dropped a whole lot of... Yeah, that was too fast. You got to slow it down. This is absolutely insane tonight.
So if you listen...
This is 40 years worth of intel. They don't... Right. They've covered up. They've murdered people off. They've silenced them. The newspapers, you know, everybody says, well, journalists don't report this. They can't. They will kill you. You know, today we have technology. You can't go past a street light without a damn camera taking a picture of you these days. Okay, you got phones that track your movements. You got telephones.
Can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah, we got questions.
Yeah, I hate to cut you off. Real quick. So if Trump was involved with all this, then what is your thoughts on that wall? Why is he building the wall?
What wall? Excuse me. What wall? Where's the wall? It's bullshit.
Okay.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit. He never intended to build a damn wall. It's just bump, talk. Playing the I'm going to car. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Mexico's going to pay for it. Blah, 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 blah. He can't, because the murders, the house that the mailman came to, my house, my childhood house in Clewiston, Florida, is where the mailman came. That picture of Obama on the couch with that guy, It's not Obama is bisexual. He's definitely more gay than he'll women, men. He doesn't care.
Who?
Okay.
Who is this?
That couch he's sitting on with that guy, not because he's gay, but because that's my mom's couch, and she had a whole bunch of stuff on there. There was no room for you had to slide everything over. That's the only reason why Obama was sitting right next to that guy next to him, the Hispanic. He was a member of the cartel too. So that house is where Trump said to me, I asked him to do a kill for me. Okay, it was one of the cartel members that was really, really scaring the hell out of me. So this was when Trump was starting to come around the same time that Bill Clinton was coming around. I lived in Arkansas. That's where the connection is there. I lived in Conway, Arkansas. Trump came and he killed the guy for me. Okay, he says, but now you owe me. Okay, okay, Trump, what do I owe you? I want a girl. Okay, you want a girl. What? Well, give me more details. He says, the younger, the better. So I went and picked up a girl off the street, a pretty blonde that I had babysat when she was a kid, because he wanted elementary school.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah, man, this is getting
why
R.
would
Kelly's
you
right
do
now.
that?
He's a child molester.
I know, but why would you help him molest a kid?
Because the cartel was getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and a lot of these guys were starting to come out of Miami. The Miami trade was the drug cartel didn't live in Miami, start in Miami. They started in the swamp. Again, every time they tell you swamp, 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 think Everglades swamp.
Sure.
Don't think Miami. Don't think Miami, because that of course happened because these guys had money and could go and spend money down in the discos and what have you down in Miami. Okay, but some of these Miami guys were starting to come heavier and more and more and more into Clewiston. Pablo was making. He started off small, and then he's making bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger connections through kills that I made. Now, Jimmy Hoffa was murdered in the 1980s for U.S. sugar. He was scheduled. He was murdered in Daytona Beach. Blagojevich, see, that's why Blagojevich is in jail now. Blagojevich was his guard. Blagojevich got pissed, came to the Glades restaurant, and said, he wanted a kill done. He wanted a retaliatory kill done. Now that's John F. Kennedy Jr. Okay, 4 days after Hoffa was murdered, John F. Kennedy Jr. was murdered. That guy you see pictures of to 1989, that's an actor. There's so many actors up there. You keep hearing about the Mandela effect.
Mandela effect. Oh, Johnny, that's Johnny Boy Crypto's favorite topic.
Yeah. John F. Kennedy Jr.
Some say he's still alive.
Was not alive in 1989. That's an actor. Monica Lewinsky is an actor. Stormy Daniels is an actor. Actor. One after the original. Freeway Rick is an original. Obama is an original. Trump is an original. Bush is an original. Clinton and Hillary are originals. But John F. Kennedy Jr. is an actor. Monica Lewinsky is an actor. Stormy Daniels is an actor.
Some say he's still alive.
Is that your YouTube?
Yeah, but why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? Because they don't want it connected back down to Clewiston, to me, to the swamp, to Obama. Trump never intended to expose Obama's birth certificate. That was another lie. Where's the wall? Where's the Obama birth certificate exposure? Bullshit.
A lot of the stuff.
YouTube channel, Zodiac, is that the YouTube channel you were referring to?
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of the stuff that we're talking about tonight and a lot of these people that she's mentioning, you have to understand that the dynamics of South Florida or even Middle Florida were really, really, really violent in this time period. And if you look where a lot of the bodies were dumped, it's in the swamp. Now, I spent a large period of time in Dade County in this time era. So when you start looking at all the people that she's mentioning and all the power players and, what is going on, you're going to see this is an extremely violent and brutal time period.
Very, very. I've had assassination attempts after assassination attempts. I've had to have operations. I was stabbed in the gut. I've had to have operation. I've had concussions. I've had unmentionable injuries that I've had to have operations for. I know exactly. I grew up in it. I know exactly the violence. I lived through it. Again, the Medellin cartel, they want to say 1975. Medellin cartel didn't start until 1981.
I didn't find it.
And the exact moment that the Medellin cartel started up was the Adam Walsh murder. Okay, the Adam Walsh murder, because Mafia said, we're out of this, and Pablo and the rest of the Medellin cartel, which was Tony Tulis, the Greek. Again, if you talk to Freeway to him, if he's the true original Freeway, which I think he looks like it. I believe that is the same guy. Ask him, did you ever work for Tony Tulis at the Glades restaurant?
I would love to talk to him. I've done a lot of research for a number of years into the very topic that we're talking about. And I've looked at Ricky Ross throughout his periods of the pictures they have. And from what I've identified, the person on Twitter and the podcast and the newscasts that I've watched are the original Freeway Ricky Ross.
Yeah, I think so too. It's been like 30 years since I've seen him. He was a small kid. He was small. Okay, he was a small kid when he worked for Tulis. He's much larger now, but he's still a pretty short guy. If it's the real one, he's a short guy.
And you were talking about Tool is Otis Tool, right?
No. That's another one. No. Otis. Okay, Adam Walsh was never raped. Adam Walsh was never sodomized.
Who was Adam Walsh?
Okay.
We talking about the America's Most Wanted dude?
Yes. Now, what happened was, this is why FBI won't touch it either. I was in Pablo's compound. I had called for help. Now, keep in mind, this is Nancy. Okay, this name should sound familiar to you. Nancy D'Alessandro Pelosi, right? Everybody says Nancy Pelosi, and very few people know to clue in on that D'Alessandro. If you've studied Florida history, the history of this, of course, you would know Joseph P. D'Alessandro was the state attorney. Well, Joseph P. D'Alessandro was protecting the cartel. This is why Nancy Pelosi will never touch anything on Swamp. This is why she has absolutely no desire to build a wall. And Trump is just bump. It was just all a bullshit game.
Wow.
The whole story is a crazy story. When you start pinning it together and looking at all of the pieces that are in play, you're going to really start to, when you start to see these people on TV and in the news media today, you're going to see them in a different light. And
yeah, they're scared now. They're scared.
What's crazy is I'm looking at your picture. That's you hugging Obama?
Yeah, that Hawaiian thing around him is not, it's not Hawaiian. It was his birthday. I had never met him before his birthday party. That was held, y'all are familiar now with Popeye Delgado of the Medellin cartel, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's his house that picture is taken in. I grew up with Popeye. I grew up with Chino. The one y'all call the Bikini Killer is not Chinese. He's just another Delgado. All right, and the Delgados were a really decent family. So when I talk about them and the things that have happened, they didn't start off that way. They were pretty decent people. So that thing around his neck is just something out of the Five and Dime. You could go to the Five and Dime stores now or Family Dollar and buy exactly the same thing. He wanted his birthday party to be Hawaiian themed, but it was actually a piñata birthday party. So, you know, and that's when Ida took 2 pictures of us. And this was the first time I didn't even know I had a brother, an older brother, especially a black brother. I didn't know I had a black brother until that very moment when that picture was taken.
Oh, wow.
And if you've seen my picture of he and I together, and you compare it with all the other pictures of me growing up that I've provided, I mean, you can see the exact the semblance. You know, you can see that that's the same person.
For those who are just tuning in, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just to say there's so much in this topic because it's a 40. This is like a movie that's still going on. It's a 40-year Broadway show.
Yeah, because they don't let the intel out, and they don't tell people this.
So much for that monetization.
They got rich off the cocaine and the crack.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're damn sure not going to tell you. They're damn sure not going to say, hey, you need to go to if you want this information, you got to go to South Florida. Forget Chicago. Yeah, Obama went to Chicago in 1985, but long before that, it was a history of the core, the very beginnings of the Medellin cartel, when it transitioned from mafia into the Medellin cartel, again, because mafia, to their credit, said, look, we don't kill children, okay? And this was Adam Walsh. Adam Walsh was the very pivotal assassination, because John Walsh was snooping around the Everglades, and they had to get rid of him. That's when it became the Medellin cartel.
Yeah, they just busted Popeye this last year again.
Yeah, well, when you grow up that way and you see, okay, Freeway Rick, the order to deal crack cocaine to Harlem, to the blacks, and God knows this is not what they want you to know, came from the Henry County Sheriff Sermon Dias Jr. He was later arrested. He was later arrested. But before technically Freeway Rick is an innocent man, because I was given the order from the sheriff to take it out to Harlem. I did not. I'm a white girl. I weighed 127 pounds. I was not comfortable being out there alone. The very first person I met was Freeway Rick, and I went, I'm like, boom, there he is. I know that guy. I ran over to him. I said, look, here's a drug to deal. It's been authorized by the Sheriff's Department, Sermon Dias Jr. You could make a lot of money. Please, please, please. He kept saying, no. He didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I kept saying, please, otherwise, and I think at that point I threatened him that if he didn't do it, the Sheriff's Department was going to come after him. He did not want any part of it. But when he started seeing how much money could be made off of it, that's when he, changed. But again, technically, he's an innocent man. Technically, he was doing CIA's work.
Knowingly or unknowingly, a lot of people did the CIA's work. And it was only after that we found out who the real string pullers were. And we're still finding out. There's still so much sealed in all of this that we probably...
Yeah, because D'Alessandro, again, Nancy D'Alessandro Pelosi, Joseph P. D'Alessandro, I can't remember if they were brother and sister or cousin. I think they were brother and sister, because anytime things were going to break, that anytime somebody was going to come investigate, came from Nancy Pelosi down to Joseph P. D'Alessandro, the state attorney. Now, here's where you can cross-reference with Rivy. Rivy will tell you that he became privy to information from me about Joseph P. D'Alessandro in 1980, around 1982. January of 1982, Blink 182. Okay, that's when Rivy became privy to the fact that Joseph P. D'Alessandro was protecting Sermon Dias Jr. He did not. Pablo didn't know. He didn't know. And I was back. I had been set on fire, literally, again, many assassination attempts. I had been set on fire because I was trying to kill Sermon Dias Jr. We killed the father. We killed the sheriff, Sermon Dyson Sr., okay? Proud of it, too. He was, just, I don't care what anybody says, he's a cop. No, that man was not a cop, okay? He was protecting the cartel. He knew that they were killing us off. He knew it. And they protected the cartel. They didn't protect Americans. They just simply didn't give a damn. That's not a cop. You wear a uniform, yeah, you're the sheriff of the county, but you know what? You play games like this, no. So we killed a lot of cops. I mean, we killed lots of cops. No problem doing it either. Doug Hagman, his son was murdered there. Lieutenant Vance, which is information coming from Julian Assange, is bullshit because it was supposedly done a couple of years ago. Lieutenant Vance, no. Lieutenant Vance was murdered in 1983. Julian Assange's intel is half truth, half lie. Same thing with Seth Rich. Seth Rich was murdered in the early 1980s. Okay, the family wants you to sympathize with them, that they're completely innocent of all of this. Not true. See, you hear the Seth Rich family's version of. You don't hear our story. You don't hear the Freeway Rick stories, or my story, or Ribby's, because they don't let that information out. The only time it's come out is with Billy Corbin's Cocaine Cowboys. Now, a lot of what is in Cocaine Cowboys is Ribby lies a little bit in there, but a lot of it's true, and it's just been very carefully edited. I mean, very carefully edited. The only people who are going to be able to understand what's going on in Cocaine Cowboys are the people who were there. I can watch Cocaine Cowboys like Lily being murdered. She was murdered in Clewiston, not Miami, but Billy Corbin edits it in such a way as he transitions from her against the fence to Miami. It's very, very carefully done. Very, very smart.
I want to say we've struck a nerve with tonight's content with YouTube. They don't like it, and they've officially done what they do.
They
pulled their ads from us.
Really?
Yeah.
They do that. They do that.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
funny.
I'm used to
they don't like the truth.
Now, so is this all tied in with the Luciferian?
There we go.
Because you talked about Skull and Bone.
Okay. Let me explain the serial killer. Okay, Ribby and I were married twice. We were both Sermon Dyson Jr. walked up to us and said, "Look, you've been given a name," and that's when I first knew that I had the name of a serial killer. That's when Ribby first knew he had the name of a serial killer. Now, we're the fall guys. We're the ones doing the dirty work, and if things go bad, we're the ones they point the fingers at. Okay? So I want to get that in there. But what was your question again?
You wanted to know about Luciferian and the connection to the Luciferian belief system.
Yeah,
okay, so what it is a lot of these guys come from Mexico, Central and South America. And I don't know if you've ever been down there, if you've ever seen the diseases that they've got down there, the bodies that get piled up because of these diseases that come. I mean, it's really, I was pretty hardened by working for Mafia, working for cartel. But I got to tell you, man, when I saw all those bodies piled, I mean, they were like neck deep piled high with disease. I mean, diseases running out of their private areas. And I was with George Bush Jr. at the time. That is a horrendous sight. And, and I just started throwing up when I saw that. They come from poverty. So when Pablo got kicked out of Clewiston, a lot of them lost their jobs, so a lot of them resorted to cannibalism, and of course cannibalism, in which they did what they had to do. They did what they had to do to survive, and so witchcraft, Luciferians, that stuff just goes hand in hand with poverty, extreme, not the poverty that Americans have, the extreme poverty that you have from Central and South America. The lack of civilization, the lack of resources, the lack of even a basic bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not that they're bad or evil. It's just they have no resources. They have no government structure. They don't have roads. You have to fly into a lot of these places.
This is absolutely insane.
So this is all linked to the human trafficking too, then.
Yeah, Pablo definitely did that. Again, starting with mafia.
Okay.
Pablo inherited, with the Adam Walsh murder, Pablo inherited the mafia business.
I got a question.
Started off.
I got a question for you there, Miss Owens. How did you hear about our show tonight? Like, how did you find us?
I've been skimming the YouTube channels since 1913, and I just happened to across your channel tonight.
You mean 2013?
I know them all. I'm the one that complained about Alex Jones, Phil McConnell, Stu Webb, Tony. Because they were giving false intel. They are constantly putting out false intel.
Okay. Someone had a question for you.
Now, people who put out true intel, obviously I don't complain. It's that I know the truth, and I know who's telling the truth and who's lying.
So you found us on your...
Webb,
Uh-huh.
that Gary Webb, he's been dead since the 1980s.
Okay.
Now, if you get on my YouTube channel, you will see me talking to Mike Bullen. Now, when you hear the name Mike Bullen, he was one of the investigators of the Obama birth certificate. Think Nancy Pelosi. That is Nancy Pelosi's private boy, private servant.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, for those that are still tuning in or just tuning in, what's going on, Mike 500? We're losing people. People don't like this part now.
No, they don't. That's the problem. Americans are soft.
Yeah.
They can't handle this. They fold. They'll run away from this, and that's why the Hispanic the cartel is able to come right in and own us, because people are so soft. They just can't. Yeah, they can't handle it, and that's why they're losing. That's why they're losing. That's why they're running from Florida. They're running from Texas. They're running from California. And they think they're going to be able to keep running from this. Eventually, the Americans are going to be converged in the central states, and it won't be. But I mean, look at Miami. Anybody who's been to Miami, grew up in the 1980s, knows that it transitioned from retired people to Cubans, Colombians. All right. You lost Miami. You've lost California. You're losing Texas. Hello, you can't sit here and keep running from this. And that's all that Americans do, constantly run away from it.
So when you say Obama and Trump are real and some of these other people are actors and they're actually, I guess, deceased, are you implying that the rumors about people being cloned are true? Or No. Monica Lewinsky is an actor. She never was she's not an intern for Bill Clinton. Okay.
Now, I'm not saying clone as in genetically clone, no. I mean, when people get killed off, they don't want you knowing that somebody has killed their family member, because if you know that, okay, John F. Kennedy Jr., if you know he was murdered, and we all do know that he was murdered, it's just a question of the date, then you have to say, well, why was he murdered? And people who do research investigations dig into it, and then they can trace the Kennedy family to Hoffa's murder. Oh, my God. What would happen? And see, that's where your ads have gone to. All right, let's make no mistake about it. If they can trace the Kennedy to the Hoffa murder, and they can, because I've already reported it to Union. Union knows all this. Union's been secretly researching this for years, trying to figure out who killed Hoffa. Okay, so if you knew that the Kennedys were behind Jimmy Hoffa's murder, what would you think of the Kennedys? There goes your ads. You want to know where your ads went to? There's your ads.
Wow. Well, I must say, this has been an interesting show tonight. Anyone else on the panel have any questions before we cut this off? So you basically, Ms. Owens, you found us just randomly then, online.
Yeah, just randomly.
Oh, no,
yeah.
wow, what's the chances of that happening? Okay. Well, I think
it's
Oh, good.
It's just that you had Gary Webb's book. He's dead. He's been dead since the early 1980s. The person who put that information together more than likely was Mike Zula Moore, who is also the Obama, who claimed he could expose the Obama birth certificate, but he couldn't. Remember that? He kept promising he could do it, he could do it, he could do it. Yeah, this year, next year, but he never could. Because he wants to put out false, he wants to give you half truth and half lies, and it just doesn't fly.
That's crazy.
There was a question about QAnon. What do you know about QAnon?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
You're talking about Jordan Sather, I believe it. Okay, he is connected with rumor mills. If he's on YouTube, he's on Twitter, but he's also primarily on rumor mills. Now, if you go and do research on rumor mills, you will find some of my stuff there. You will also find a Mr. Fusion on that website.
Wow.
Go look at it now. Scroll through the writers, look for a Mr. Fusion, and then guess where the information came from.
Mr. Fusion. They're talking about time travelers in the chat. QAnon time traveler.
Okay, yeah. QAnon posts a lot on. He's on rumor mills a lot. Go to rumormills.com. Scroll down your writers. You will find a Mr. Fusion on there, which is the same website that QAnon posts on quite frequently. That's his primary posting site. And then ask yourself how, and I posted a lot of information on there too, so ask yourself, how did this particular information make it into, how did they pick out the Trump stuff? Okay, that's exactly what they did. How did they pick out the Trump stuff, but somehow didn't manage to get the rest of it, the Clinton stuff, the Reagan stuff?
I don't know. This is all quite fascinating to me. My brain is overloaded. I think you're giving a lot of people a lot of aneurysms that were in the chat with the information that you dropped.
Yeah, they're not going to accept it. They're going to. I mean, I grew up the cartel. It wasn't exactly willing at first, but I had to come to the point where I admire them. I was captured, an attempted ransom. I was held in a shed where they do where they cut up the bodies. But again, because I was a young female, slim and trim, grew up in the swamp, we didn't watch TV in the swamp, okay? Obviously, I was kept for obvious reasons, and I began to learn from them how to do, how to cut up bodies, how to do the acid, who to go after, when the politicians had a contract, who to go after. Oh, and that brings up Princess Diana. In O.J. Simpson. Do you really think they went after O.J. Simpson simply because he killed a white wife? Or is it possible that it was Princess Diana buying a kilo of cocaine and somebody had a contract out for her in Florida, not in a damn tunnel? Now, again, ask yourself, who doesn't want this out?
We're going to have to do a follow-up show here.
We're going to have to,
okay,
because it's too much information. Can we have you on again?
Okay, ask yourself, is there a possibility that O.J. Simpson was framed for a murder he did not commit? Why didn't that glove fit?
My brother and I believe, just had this conversation.
Yeah, hold on the line. We'll get some contact information from you so we can do a follow-up show.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to thank Digi Warfare for dropping so much information on us on tonight. I want to thank our sponsors at X40. I can't get my tongue right. At X42. And our sponsors there at SpectreSecurity.io. And I want to thank our community partners that are out there at Leisure Coin. For you guys, make sure if you haven't, like the button, hit the like button, hit the ring bell button, subscribe button if you have not done so. And make sure you check us out next week, next Friday, January 18th, 2019, where we will have on Factum Protocol. Right here, live interview next Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We want to thank the wonderful Miss Nancy Ruth Owens, half-sister of Barack Obama, on the show. And we thank you. So,
okay,
for coming on. We want to make sure you stand by. We get more information. You guys want to sound off before we let you go? I want to thank my other special guests for being on here with us tonight. Crypto Gangs. You can't say LOL. Sneaky Good Lord for chiming in and hanging out with us. Mike 500. Johnny Boy Crypto, of course, holding it down in the background. And for all those that were able to engage in conversation with us on tonight, this was very informative information. And hopefully next week, maybe we'll get into some more crypto. But if you guys want to hear more, make sure you drop us a comment on shows that you may want to hear more about. If you want to hear more of this content, make sure you reach out to us to let us know that. And outside of that,
check the Fort Knox Discord after the show. They're still doing rains right now in there, so it's in the description box, the Discord for Fort Knox. Free crypto.
Free crypto. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. I am Johnny Boy Crypto and Red Planet 32 tonight. We want to thank you guys for joining the show. Make sure you check us out. Check us out, yourcryptodaily.com or cryptowatchersnetwork.com. It all leads to the same place, some of our past shows. If you would like to become a community partner, you can certainly do so there. If you would like to be a sponsor on the show, you can certainly do so there. And yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you guys next week with some more content. And have a wonderful weekend. Peace.